Hi, I'm Lynn Gray, Chair of the Hillsborough County School Board. I want to welcome you to Hillsborough County Public Schools. We serve more than 200,000 students. That includes children in preschool through our adults in our workforce program.
Hi, I'm Dr. Stacy Hahn, the Board Vice Chair. Our district is the 7th largest in America, and our team is made up of more than 24,000 people working at nearly 250 sites across the county.
We are diverse and dedicated. Our board meetings are held in our board auditorium on select Tuesdays at 4 p.m. The best way to serve our students and our community is to involve you, the public, in what we do.
You are welcome to email or meet with any of our board members and follow our district on social media. Board meetings are covered live by Hillsborough Schools TV on Spectrum Cable Channel 635 and Frontier Cable Channel 32.
Meetings are streamed on our website at hillsboroughschools.org. Closed captioning is provided on all broadcasts, and past meetings are available in our online archives.
We are interested in what the public has to say. We'll include time for audience comments before we address our business items. Our agenda and any supporting materials can be viewed online in advance. They're posted 7 days before each meeting on our website at hillsboroughschools.org.
Our vision is preparing students for life, and that means all students, every day. Todos los estudiantes, todos los días. Thank you for your interest in education. With your help, we're making decisions that shape our community's future.
The board meeting of August 12th, 2021 is called to order. Member Hahn, will you do us the pleasure of a moment of silence or a reflection?
Thank you, Member Gray. Lord, thank you for every seat that's been filled here today, for each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room. We have ideas, visions, hints, and inspirations. Nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good. Bless this meeting today, all those present, as well as the lives of those we will encounter afterward, and ready us to make every moment count. Amen.
Thank you. The Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board members, let the record show that all board members are present either in the boardroom or by remote. We have no withdrawn items today. I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. I have a motion by Member Perez, a second by Member Combs. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote when your lights are on. And board members, thank you. Member Vaughn, was that an affirmative?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Member Vaughn. All right. We have 2 sets of minutes to be approved today. On May 18th, 2021, School Board Workshop. On July 27th, 2021, School Board Meeting. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Combs. Any discussion, board members? Seeing none, please vote when your lights are on. And all are affirmative. Member Vaughn?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Board members, I would like to go over the format of tonight's meeting. For precautionary measures, we are practicing social distancing as much as possible. So we ask that guests in the boardroom keep one chair open between families. As a reminder, this is a nonpartisan board, and the board is asked to consider our children's interests and needs first. To pave the way for efficient and an effective agenda, statements and/or questions, board members will have 3 minutes to speak with 30 seconds for final thoughts. Afterward, the superintendent may respond. If you have further questions, you're asked to get back in the queue or to ask staff at a later time. Member Hahn, will you read the board guidelines?
Yes, thank you, Member Gray. As we begin this afternoon's meeting, let me quickly review the format of our school board meetings. Please silence all electronic devices. There are speakers in the room behind me that allow board members to hear the meeting upon stepping away from the dais. This meeting can be viewed with closed captioning on the live webcast, on cable TV, and on video monitors here in the auditorium. It can also be viewed with closed captioning in the online video archive.
Thank you, Member Hahn. We have one item scheduled for time certain, and that is a 6 p.m. employee input. About public comment, the board welcomes comments from citizens and values your input to the board. In order to provide the most comprehensive response to your comments, our staff will follow up with you and will keep our board informed about the responses. Our school board respects the public's right to speak to the board, and we appreciate you taking your time to be here. However, it is requested when you address the board, comments are not directed personally against a board member or staff member, but rather directed at the issues. Any behavior intended to interrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting will not be allowed. Our civility policy is in place, and that includes applause and any of the shouting that may occur. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. As a reminder of our way of work, we have allotted 45 minutes for public comment, and as this day has proceeded, we are now up to 60 minutes. Thank you, board. Oh, okay. 45 minutes at this point in time. Just retrace that, Lynn. At times like today, when there is an issue of great interest, we could choose to extend that time to an hour. This afternoon, each speaker will have 1 minute. When there are 30 seconds left, you will see a yellow light on the lectern. A red light and a chime will indicate when your time is up. And at this time, I will call up the first speakers. Before that, Mr. Porter, we can do a recognition, right? We have time?
Yes, you can do that if you choose, Madam Chair.
So at this time, we have a special guest. Well, I'm going to let the special guest introduce the person. And Doug Dodd from Citrus County has come on up to our county. Let's see, Citrus Park, is that up or? It's north. Okay, so you came down. I'm going to ask how the weather is, but I won't at this point. At any rate, thanks, Mr. Dodd, for coming, and Member Dodd, of course. If you'll go ahead and share the recognition, and then I'll double up on it.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. It's good to be here. We are in the Tampa Bay news market up there in Citrus County, so we get to stay up on all your news because we're just up there, Inverness, Crystal River, Homosassa area to the north. So it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me come up today. I'm a school board member, like I said, in Citrus County. I'm also currently the president of the board of the Florida High School Athletic Association. And I'm here today to help recognize and honor Hillsborough County's Lauren Otero, who was the 2020-2021 president of the Florida High School Athletic Association. And so I'd like Lauren to just step up, come on up if she can just for a minute, because we really appreciate her service. The FHSAA has a unique governing model in that a representative assembly comprised of 67 delegates meets annually and sets the bylaws of the association, while a board of directors comprised of 16 members meets throughout the year, sets operational policies, and serves as the executive authority of the association. Lauren Otero was elected by the board to serve as our president, and she just finished this role on June 30th of this year. And she became the first female president in the 100-year history of the Florida High School Athletic Association.
Wow. So,
faced with the COVID-19 pandemic, it was a very busy year for the association, to say the least, as I know all school boards in Florida saw that. Ms. Otero worked diligently to navigate through this challenge. She called Zoom meetings. We had special call meetings, and we dealt with a lot of emails from stakeholders and the public of concern. And, we made it through. And we had interscholastic sports. We pushed through that. And a lot of that is a tribute to Ms. Otero's leadership, and we thank her for that. At our last FHSAA board meeting in Gainesville, that's where the FHSAA office is, George Tommen, our executive director, presented her with a plaque of appreciation. But it's so neat to see you as the Hillsborough County School Board recognizing one of your own for her dedication. And so thank you, board members, for doing this today, and Mr. Superintendent, for your continued support and work with the FHSAA. Your involvement there is very important. And Lauren, thank you for a job well done.
so hold on. Clap, 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 clap. Lauren, would you mind sharing with us, how does it feel to be the first woman, and thank you, Mr. Dodd, for taking that thunder, by the way, first woman to serve in this position in the whole 100-year history? So, your turn.
It was quite an honor, obviously, just to be elected to serve on the board as a whole, but then to be elected by the other board members to serve as president. Obviously, in a 16-member board, not everyone gets that opportunity in a 3-year term. So being the first female president was certainly a highlight of my career, and definitely presented some challenges. Going through a COVID year and pandemic and not knowing what we were going to do. We have 5 regularly scheduled board meetings. We had 4 special board meetings before our first ever one that was to be scheduled. So
Wow.
It was a learning experience, but I would certainly do it again if given the opportunity.
Well, we're just blessed to have you. Board members, if you wouldn't mind, we're going to take a photo. I'm sorry, Superintendent Davis?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you or stop the process. I have to say that she has been a true champion, and Mr. Robinson, I think he's here as well, it continues to support her efforts. And when we had really hard issues to discuss, me and Ms. Otero were sometimes on the other side of the fence, and she would recognize that to the board where I was as superintendent, but she would always stay strong to where she was in her heart. And that, to me, is all about leadership. So, congratulations to you. Thank you for what you do, not only for our community and plant and this in Hillsborough County, but what you did for the state. You're a trailblazer, and we look forward to working beside you. And also, I have to say, there's a legend here tonight. As our former Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Ken Otero, is here. Many, many years in Hillsborough County. Thank you, sir, for your dedication, your efforts, and your energy as well. So thank you.
And that means, Ken, you must come up too, because we want our family also. So, and the mom's here as well? Absolutely. Mr. and Mrs. Otero, please join us.
My mom, who was the principal at Turner.
Johnny Bush. Where's Johnny?
Bonus mom, who was a supervisor and guidance.
Wow. Well, here, Mr. Bush, Principal Bush, please come forward.
Ms. Helen.
And Vice Principal. So that's okay. I'm sorry, board members. We do have a comment, and keep standing. And Member Washington.
Yeah, Lauren made my career, because when I came to Chamberlain High School, I was a rookie AP 1, and Lauren was my assistant. And she helped me out a lot, kept me organized. She was my student assistant. You started my career. I want everybody to know that. So I know you are very, very organized, believe me.
Thank you, Mr. Washington.
Quite historical. Thank you, Member Washington. So we're going to go and take a photo, or a few.
Thank you all for taking the time for this recognition. I know you all have a lot on your own agendas.
Okay, we're going from our behalf, and thank you, Van Ayers and Superintendent Davis and our wonderful board members and Mr. Dodd. We can't thank you enough, obviously, with all types of monetary awards, and you understand. But we are going to give you the certificate of recognition, which you'll share with your wonderful parents, so all educators, for your service as the 2021 president of the Florida High School Athletic Association and the first female, this is in writing, in history to preside over the FHSAA. What a wonderful honor. Board members, clap.
I want to tell y'all something else. My father taught me a lot too. You can't leave the deputy out. Okay. All right.
Thank you for your leadership.
Okie dokie. Okay, board members, we're back in session. I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, we have to do a public comment before the consent agenda.
Okay, we're going to do public comment first, so we'll bump it up. Public comment, and we'll have 2 minutes each for each of the individuals. And we thank each of you for spending time with us. Paula Castano, Pat Hall, Luan Talbert, Deborah Setsa, and I'll get it right, Jessica Dubois. And let's go ahead and start out with that. 2 minutes each.
Okay. Good evening. Paula Castano, Hillsborough Public School Advocates. Please review our research binder that we left to you at your leisure. I am here today to talk about a fire that needs to be addressed. Our transformation network, our underperforming schools. I saw the August 3rd press release. A big thank you to Shay McCray, to Addison, and all the hardworking administrators and teachers. We still have a long way to go. For example, one school on that list went from a D to a C, has only 11% third grade proficiency on the ELA. And that is just one of them I'm mentioning. Our group has been researching and speaking to national experts on community schools, one that exists in New York City, Children's Aid, and another one that I know, Addison, that you know, Amy Ellis, who's Florida's community school innovator, and Alex Gregory, you might remember her. She worked underneath Maninka Jenkins, I believe. We have community schools in our district, and we know it's an evidence-based intervention, but these schools need more support, more community intervention, and more intentional resources. Put our ESSER funds there. The evidence proves community schools meet low-performing students' needs. It's been proven in improved attendance, improved academics, a positive school climate, and that's just the top 3 things that I'm naming. I did all the research. There's so many more things. As you realize, I've only included just a few of the articles that I thought were the best ones for you to look at. We need continuity of the leaders and the teachers in these schools. The students need stability. They need more of our resources. I stand here today to tell you, Hillsborough Public School Advocates,
Thank you. Next, we'll have Ms. Hall and then Ms. Talbert, followed by Deborah Seltzer, and followed by Jessica DuBois, and then Scott Houghtonstein.
Hi, I'm Pat Hall, and I'm here to talk a little about community schools as well. The community school approach reduces discipline issues, improves student attendance and outcomes while having a positive impact on student achievement and meeting the educational needs of struggling students. Most important is stability and consistency of leadership and staff. Principals and teachers must be given more than 1 year to improve struggling schools. Look what happened at Mort after Woodland Johnson was moved. We have connected with Kimberly Cook, the COO of Children's Home Society of Florida, who worked with Mr. Davis in Clay County, and with Amy Ellis of USF, who is the director for the Center for Community Partnership Schools for the state of Florida. We must invite legislators into our community schools so we can receive additional funding from the legislature. Partnering with the University of South Florida, UT, and HCC to involve education majors and others is a critical component of collaboration as we think about partnerships. We are aware of early childhood education dollars coming from Washington in the near future. Can we target empty classrooms for the needy children so their parents can get back to work? Who can afford childcare on a minimum wage salary? Repurposing classrooms would create teacher aide positions for some of these parents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. And I see that the head of our transformation schools, Shane McCrae, is getting with the individuals. And good afternoon, Ms. Talbert.
Hello, my name is Lou Ann Tolbert. I'm a retired educator and active member of Hillsborough Public School Advocates. I would like to begin by thanking you, the school board, and Superintendent Davis. Thank you for making tough decisions in an extremely difficult political climate. Thank you for prioritizing our students' health and welfare as well as the quality of their education. Since the statewide assessment calendar is on the agenda for tonight, I'd like to speak for a moment about excessive testing. Early in my career, students took paper and pencil assessments each spring in writing, reading, and math. Now, paper, pencil, or computer-based tests begin in August and occur continuously throughout the school year until summer dismissal. I understand that the majority of the testing is state mandated. However, as I closely examine this document, I see that much of the testing outlined here is district mandated. I urge this board and our district leaders to reduce district required testing as much as possible. The final page of the document, section 6, shows the total testing time by grade level in minutes. I've taken these totals and translated them into hours. Our K through 2 students are testing 7 hours each year. Our middle and high school students are testing up to 32 hours each school year. These totals do not include school day PSAT, SAT, or ACT tests, or advanced placement tests, which average 4 hours each. I'm aware that this topic has been raised before. What I'm asking today is for you to resume the discussion about excessive testing, take action, and reduce testing at the district level.
Thank you, Ms. Talbert. And finally, great to see you in person. Deborah Setzer, and then Jessica DuBois, Scott Houghtonstein, Amberlyn Rhodes, and then followed by Mark Clutho.
Hi, I'm Deborah Setzer. I want to thank everyone for the mask mandate. I know you guys are working in a really difficult climate right now, so I really appreciate that. Unfortunately, the easy opt-out and lack of enforcement at the schools has resulted in more than half of the kids at our school not wearing masks. We're not doing enough to keep our kids and staff safe with a 22% positivity rate in Hillsborough County and a twice as transmissible Delta variant. What we ask is that we require masks for all students, staff, and visitors, with only a doctor's note available for an opt-out, similar to what other counties have done. Also, consider vaccine incentives. Allow outdoor spaced-out lunches to the extent possible. Allow masked children to sit together. And also ensure that our quarantine guidelines are updated per CDC guidance. But please don't listen to me. Listen to the thousands of parents who have signed a petition requesting a mask mandate. And most of all, listen to experts like the CDC and the American Academy of Pediatrics. Also, the White House has voiced its support for school districts to defy the governor's executive order, and that's facing significant legal challenges. We need more measures now to prevent even more kids from leaving for private school or joining the almost 3,000 kids who are already in quarantine at Hillsborough County Public Schools, getting sick, or filling our already full hospitals. Kids ages 12 to 19 have a 24% positivity rate in the state of Florida right now. A mask mandate can help to minimize disruptions and make the school year safer for everyone.
Thank you. Next will be Jessica DuBois, Scott Huttenstein, Amberlyn Rhodes, Mark Lutho, Christina Mendicini. And good afternoon, almost evening. Hi.
Good afternoon. My name is Jessica DuBois, representing Hillsborough Public School Advocates. One of the core tenets of our group is to ensure that every dollar is spent in a thoughtful way towards bettering the educational experience for all children. We've asked for things such as the financial CAC to be formed. We asked the board to take a closer look at charter schools in the area to ensure they're held accountable in the same way as traditional schools. Now we're asking that we look at traditional schools that are not up to par. We as a collective community need to look closely at these schools and raise them up. We're advocating that this board consider more community-based approaches for our transformational schools. According to the Learning Policy Institute and several other groups, a community-based approach allows schools to comprehensively address the holistic needs of their unique student body. Several schools in Hillsborough County have had great success with varying approaches, such as Mort and Gibsonton. It's important to note that community-based approaches are not a quick fix, but a multi-year journey in bettering our students and their families' lives. Let's continue supporting the schools in our district that are following a community-based approach, and we ask as a call to action, we identify at least 2 additional schools and implement this approach this year. There are many additional funds that are coming available, as Pat Hall and Paula Castano outlined. Let's get creative together and find a way to uplift these traditional schools in our system. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Scott Huttenstein, Amberlyn Rhodes, Mark Lutho, Christina Mendicini, and then Teresa Pata.
Good afternoon. I'm Scott Huttenstein. I'd like to address 2 things. First, COVID procedures and reporting. Stats on the COVID dashboard as of late this morning showed 128 employees and 65 students COVID positive just from this week. But that's only part of the story that the public needs to know. How many total students have been quarantined due to COVID exposure? Well, actually, someone answered that. 2,933 plus another 281 staff are quarantined due to COVID exposure. Whole classes are being sent home. Those students are not learning. Online resources are inequitable and inadequate. Hiring private tutors who don't know where the students are in their class with their teacher, that's a waste of money. We need to know the true impact of COVID on our students, so I strongly urge that the school district add the total number of students quarantined to the COVID dashboard immediately. Also, what happened to notifications? My son's school has positive cases, but I've yet to receive a notification phone call. Second, some comments about the harassment policy discussion from this morning's workshop. We are most definitely not doing an excellent job on preventing harassment in our school district. Based on the last Youth Behavior Risk Survey, 10.7% of our high school students reported being raped, 13% reported sexual violence, 9.6% reported dating sexual violence, and 10.7% reported physical dating violence. Yet the school district reported only 300 cases of the like. Policy is not about curriculum. It's about implementation and results. We need to do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Next is Amberlyn Rose, Mark Lutho, Christina Mendicini, Teresa Potter, then Jason Ferger. Good evening.
Hey, it's nice to see all of you. I'm Amberlyn Rhodes. I'm here representing the Hillsborough Public Schools Advocates Group. And today I'm here to advocate for a community school-based approach. This approach allows the school to comprehensively assess parent and students' needs and then provide holistic solutions. A great example is Gibsonton Elementary. Catherine Gilmore is the community resource coordinator. She works tirelessly in her role. The first year she spent with the Listening Project, what they learned is the parents and students were scared for their students to walk to class because there were no street lights or sidewalks near the school. They were able to get 52 street lights put in as sidewalks on the east and west side of the school, which helped improve attendance. Secondly, it's improved parent involvement as well as the school culture. The parent PTA has increased in 1 year from 13 members to 53 members. The school has really built trust with these parents. They helped to prevent 130 families from getting evicted, and they did not lose count of one student during COVID. I think that's remarkable. They kept in touch with every single family during that transition to virtual learning. Overall, there are many schools that are using this approach, and we urge you to continue to support these schools and also urge you to maybe add 2 more transformation schools to this network. We advocate for equal opportunity at great education, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Amberlyn. Next, Mark Lutho, Christina Mendicini, Teresa Potter, Jason Ferger. Good evening.
Mark Lutho. Well, I love the way you start with that backslapping and glad handing. But the problem is, melting ice imperils nearly all emperor penguin colonies. That's the headline. And then, stark warnings for the warming planet. This is from the USA Today. And the New York Times says, a hotter future is now inevitable, a UN report says. Scientists find rapid shift from fossil fuels could avert greater perils. Yeah, not a pretty picture here. And then there are 2 more reports coming next year. And the final one, it says, a 3rd report, also expected next year, will explore more fully strategies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and halt global warming. Well, see, how you do that is you make the buildings the right way. High performance passive solar school buildings, which you refuse to do. You make stupid buildings that belch the carbon, putting the future of the little children's in jeopardy. And as this article states, many species of animals will become extinct. This is your legacy. Ignoring science. What a doggone shame.
Thank you, Christina Mendicini, Teresa
Thank
Potter,
you.
Jason Ferger, and Anika Vahayan. Good evening.
Good evening. There's no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about. We're all here today, those of you sitting before us and those of us in the audience, for a shared goal. We care about our children, we care about our schools, we care about our community, the teachers and staffs in these schools. Hillsborough County has over 200,000 students and 300 schools. There's over 21 towns and cities that span 1,266 square miles. That diversity is what makes Hillsborough unique, but it's also what presents us with these challenges that we're discussing today. Currently, our schools' needs are managed with a one-size-fits-all approach, and it's not working. There are too many of our schools struggling, and we're not bringing those who are involved into the conversation to find the root cause of why some of these schools are failing. We need to take the time to really dive into these schools and ask the parents, children's, school teachers, and staff, what do you need? What do you need to bring your school to a successful front? Engaging parents is easy because they want to be heard. And when you engage a parent, you set their child up for success. And when you take the time to learn what a school needs, you can go out into the community and ask for that help that will bring you to those needs. Gibsonton is a school that did just that. You've heard us mention it from the other speakers. They surveyed their teachers, parents, and students and examined the community surrounding their own school. What they discovered and how they used that information created unbelievable positive change for that one school. A sustainable plan takes time and must be formulated with long-term goals, and a plan must be specific to the school that it serves. To accomplish this, you need a strong leader and funding. A principal who is invested in their school and who stays with the school to create valuable connections within the community is invaluable. We have teachers in our district and principals that are moved from school to school to fill wherever there's a gap that's needed. But a principal cannot be a valuable leader or an invested leader.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Next, Teresa Potter, Jason Ferga, Anika Vahian, Veronica McDonald, then Aiden Allen. Good evening.
Hello. My name is Teresa Potter. I'm the president-elect and the chair of the Education Committee for the League of Women Voters. You may have heard the State League issued a statement early last week urging Governor DeSantis to revisit his decision to disallow school boards to require masking in public schools. They then sent a call to action to the local leagues on Friday. So thank you very much for not requiring local action from us. Thank you to the school board for calling a special meeting for Monday to address the issue. And thank you so much to the superintendent for taking action on Saturday to change the mask mandate from an optional masking to a required masking with an opt-out. I know it wasn't easy to put an opt-out system in place a couple of days prior to the school year, and that it may need to be adjusted to ensure that it is the parent or guardian of the student filling out the form, and that the current list is provided to schools and teachers. So thank you for that. I also wanted to talk to you today about the 2021-22 testing calendar that is on the agenda. As you know, in addition to the many state-mandated assessments, FSAs, FSA retakes, EOCs, etc., and the college board-based testing, APs, in addition to those that are scheduled by other agencies that you have no control over, there are also many district assessments and frequent tests using software programs that prepare our students for the next test. In many cases, teachers are not given the results of the assessment. All assessments are intended to provide the teacher with feedback to direct instruction. Does a standard need to be retaught? To which students? So if assessments are being given and the data that tells that is not being provided to the teacher, that assessment is ineffective. You cannot address the number of state tests required of our students, but please take a look at each district level assessment and eliminate any tests that are not absolutely necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason Ferger, Anika Vahian, Veronica McDonald, Aiden Allen, Damaris Bridges. Good evening.
Good afternoon. My name is Jason Ferger. I am a stakeholder, and what I wrote on this piece of paper will take me 2 minutes and 51 seconds to say, so I can't say it tonight. But I will be back because it needs to be said here in this room in front of you guys and nowhere else. But I will be back when there's 3 minutes to say it. Now, with that said, I want to let you know, it's going to take me over an hour to drive here and back to where I live to come down here and be given 2 minutes. When just a few weeks ago I saw you all at a meeting talk for like 30, 45 minutes about whether or not to allow public comment. So I do have to call out Member Combs for saying she'd stay here till midnight to listen to the people. I drive, it's literally probably going to take me 45, 50 minutes to drive back towards the Bloomingdale Fishhawk area. You're going to give me 2 minutes. The people that want the masks, wear the masks. The people that don't should not be forced. And the second thing about these achievement schools and the transformation schools, you know, that is a really, really great improvement. But I want to say, you know, look at Stephanie Woodford in Lakewood over there. I personally know all of the things that she did and some of the real issues that they face, and it's no different. It is no different than what is faced here in Hillsborough. In fact, it's heart-wrenching, some of the things that occur in these schools and in these poor kids' homes. But she took it from an F to an A in 3 years, and that really, superintendent and school board and the people behind me sitting down, that really needs to be there's no other exception than that. That's what needs to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferger. Anika Vahayan, please correct me. Veronica McDonald, Aiden Allen, Damaris Bridges, and Scott Shaking. Hi. And how do you pronounce your name? Oh, thank you.
Yes, hi, my name is Anika Verheyen, and I'm here to reinforce Deb Setzer's ask around COVID safety in the schools. My children were so excited to go back to school after being homeschooled for almost a year and a half, and I'm very grateful for the mask mandate that you were able to implement as of Saturday. Unfortunately, what I hear from my children, there are a lot of people, a very high percentage, like 50% plus of children and teachers that are not wearing masks. And my child is actually sitting next to a child that is not wearing a mask, which makes me very concerned. Also, my children told me that they are going to the cafeteria like normal, so mingling with other students outside of their classroom. As well as during dismissal, they are being mingled with other classrooms within their grade. So contact tracing is going to be very difficult, and also the risk of spreading is going to be increased, right? Now, this Delta variant is very serious, something else that we dealt with in the past, and more children are being admitted to the hospitals. And even when they're not very sick, we don't know what the long-term effects are. One of my coworkers, my age, 2 young children, after a year, he still deals with heart inflammations. He cannot even walk the stairs yet. He doesn't know when he's going to be healthy and if he's going to be healthy. So my ask is the same as Deb. Take the opt-out out of the mask mandate. Allow social distancing. Have people have their lunches in their classrooms. Mm-hmm. Also, keep them in their classroom while being dismissed. And last but not least, there is not a single vaccine that is effective when people refuse to take it, right? If we can give some incentives, that will be fantastic. Let's be healthy together. Mask up, and please get your vaccine.
Thank you. Veronica McDonald, Aiden Allen, Damaris Bridges, Scott Shaking, and then Julie Gebhardt.
Hello, Veronica McDonald. Today I had no intention of talking about critical race theory. I was going to talk about transformation schools. But after watching the school board workshop this morning, I quickly wrote something different. As Han said this morning, I'm at a loss why we're having this discussion today. The only reason that I could come up with was cruelty. An attempt to codify school board policy and redefine what critical race theory meant for K-12 when we all know that it's not taught until a student is in college. It's been said that white people should not be made to feel guilty about our country, and history and curriculum that makes students feel anything less than pride in our country should not be taught. What I witnessed today was Member Washington telling his lived experience growing up during the civil rights era, having public pools be emptied out because black people swam in them, tainting water for whites, having to ride in the back of the school bus, drink from separate water fountains, being called the N-word. What came next is equally important. Apologies, remorse, these responses were not forced. That's what's being asked of teaching American history. We ask that you let it be taught honestly and factually. Some students may feel the same way that you did on your own. No agendas, no politics, no dog whistles. This is important so that students can feel like they can be part of the change moving forward. This is important so that students can look at their neighbor who looks different from them and want to do better. So that students who are Black, Brown, and Indigenous can feel like they're part of a bigger community and healing can begin. I thank you to the school board members who spoke strongly against this proposed policy change. Washington, Perez, Vaughn, Gray, Hahn, and Combs. I thank you.
Thank you. Aiden Allen, Damaris Bridges, Scott Shaking, Julie Gebhardt, and then Selena. Good evening.
Good afternoon. My name is Aiden Allen, and today I'm here to try and persuade you to change the parent opt-out mask policy to a doctor-recommended opt-out. Parents and students throughout the pandemic have been harassed by anti-scientific agitprop, which has led to mass disillusion around basic epidemiology. Masks have been shown to decrease the chance of infection by more than 80%, according to the World Health Organization. The CDC even stating, "Wear a mask, you protect others as well as yourself." I urge you to consider those facts and change the mask exemption policy in schools. Over 26,000 students have opted out of the mask policy as of Tuesday. This is from dramatic increase from the 16,000 the day prior. My younger brother after school even told me that the overwhelming majority of students at his school were not wearing masks. Freedom is the right to safety, not the right to not wear a mask, just as much as you cannot drive down the street drunk. This is not a political question. This is people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Damaris Bridges, Scott Shaking, Julie Gebhardt, Selena, Julia Sears. Good afternoon. I'm going back in time here from evening to afternoon.
Yes,
so there we go.
Good afternoon. My name is Damaris Bridges, and I'm here to talk to you about two things. One, community schools and their value, and two, my concerns around masks and the sustainability of the current policy we have. The first thing I want to talk about is community schools. We know that parental engagement is the #1 indicator of success, and community schools foster that environment where parents feel welcomed and valued, their input feels valued. And so that's really, really important. I can tell you that when I was president of the PTSA for Hillsborough County, that I was at Gibsonton when they started their PTA, and they started with a small PTA, and now they rival some of our oldest PTAs. I was at Sulphur Springs K-8 when they had their first PTA meeting that rivaled some of our most involved schools that we have in our county. So it's really important. Parents want to be involved. They want to be engaged, but they have to feel valued. In addition to that, I also went to the achievement school meetings where parents often said, "I don't feel welcome on my campus." So when their input is sought out and their input is validated by implementing programs, it encourages them to continue to engage. The other thing is I just want to share with you some numbers. So I'm the one behind the public records request for the quarantining. We had 281 employees quarantined, but 268 tested positive. That means 19 were quarantined because they were unmasked or unvaccinated, one of the two, or their person that quarantined them. We have 2,933 students quarantined, but only 144 students tested positive. That means if we had a mask mandate requiring all of our kids per our policy, we would have had 2,789 students still in school today, not trying to figure out how to learn at home. So we really need to think about those students who are being forced home that don't have the opportunity to be in front of the teacher. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Shaking, Julie Gebhardt, Selena, Julia Sears, Kelly Carling.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Shankin, and I want to also thank you for the mask mandate and request that you go further and remove the opt-out option. Throughout this debate, it's been framed as one of freedom of choice, but the government has flipped freedom of choice on its head. I used my freedom to move to Hillsborough County. I used my freedom to vote for this county council. I used my freedom to vote for this school board. But that freedom has been stolen, not only from me, but from this board as well. My son's freedom has been stolen. He cannot choose a safe school. He cannot choose to be vaccinated. His freedom's been completely disregarded. And now he feels harassed. He feels harassed every day he goes to school because he's wondering when he's going to come home with a deadly virus. But the governor would tell me my option is to go to virtual school. Well, where does his logic end? The walls are falling down, Governor. I'll go to virtual school. The teachers aren't paid. There's no books. I'll go to virtual school. There's well-settled law in this state that this county and this board can require a full mask mandate, even under strict scrutiny standard. The Delta variant is a game changer. And this is the least restrictive measure to provide for the public safety of our children. Simply put, masks work, but they don't work when students opt out. The opt-out decision places the entire mask mandate also on shaky legal grounds. If you have a rational basis upon which to regulate, then you have it, and do so. And you do. Opting out simply throws the rational basis up in the air and wonders how you got to the mandate in the first place. We don't opt out of public safety laws. As the young gentleman already noted, we can't decide when we get to drink and drive. We can't decide when we speed through our residential neighborhoods. Opting out doesn't restore freedom or choice. It will not restore freedom for our students to attend a safe school. That choice and that freedom has been removed. We can and we must pass a mask mandate. And instead of stealing our freedom and our choice from us, those who would like to, they can opt out. They can exercise.
Thank you. Julie Gebhardt, Selena, Julia Sears, Kelly Carling, and Matthew Belcher. And good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm back today to keep the issue of sexually explicit material at the forefront of our minds. I believe the board needs to address this. The question I'd like to address today is this: who should decide what is morally acceptable for our children? My daughter's teacher made the moral decision to offer the bluest eye to my daughter, 15 years old, without my knowledge. Teachers are offering as acceptable literature a host of morally objectionable books. Some parents find these books completely reprehensible. However, we live in America where there are diverse perspectives on what is morally acceptable. I'm not here to advocate for the burning of books. I'm here to advocate for awareness. Awareness was definitely raised when I read a portion of The Bluest Eye at a past meeting, and I'm open to doing that again if it does the trick. So back to the question, who should decide? It is my belief that these delicate moral decisions should be made by the family, not the district or teachers. And I'm confident that the majority of Hillsborough County would agree that the education system is not the best manager of these decisions on behalf of our kids. When it comes to explicit and objectionable materials that can harm children and their mental health, families are the ones to educate and train up our children in the way that we see fit as best for them, since we know our children better than anyone else. I believe that fellow parents and taxpayers, and you, the school board, would agree. Teachers offering these books are putting their stamp of approval on materials that offend many adults. And these are our children, not yours or anyone else's. These decisions should be ours. So to begin with, we are advocating for transparency. Why is it nearly impossible to find out what is happening in the classroom? What books are they reading? Let's maybe start with this. When a teacher wants to offer, even as optional reading, a book that contains anything sexual in nature, there needs to be a mandatory descriptive consent form sent to the parents directly. Just like the policy in place for R-rated movies, we need this mandatory inform to be implemented for R-rated books. This is a good place to start. Parents need to know so they can guide their children. We are
Thank you. Selena, Julia Sears, Kelly Carling, Matthew Belcher, Corinne Perez, and then Susan Lethold. And good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hi, my name is Selena, and I recently moved to Florida from Illinois. I have a 5-year-old son who I currently homeschool. I know what you may be thinking, why is she here if this doesn't affect her? The answer is, it does affect me. It affects me because my son is being robbed of a traditional school experience. I refuse to enroll him in a school unmasked where I can receive a phone call at any moment that he has to be quarantined because he was not wearing a mask. Yet, the children who are wearing masks mostly worn incorrectly, get the choice to continue sending their child to school. These rules intentionally set the unmasked children up for failure. All children should be treated equally. Parents have practiced keeping their kids home sick when their children are sick for decades, and I'm sure will remain doing more so in this world of fear-mongering. I also ask that proof of COVID be mandatory. I have, with my own eyes, witnessed parents planning on crying wolf on COVID just so the unmasked kids get sent home. This is not how adults should behave. The segregation of the masked versus unmasked is very real, and I ask that something be done about it so that maybe one day in my son's future, he could go to school where he is free to choose and free to make friends with everybody, regardless of their skin color or mask status. I also ask that you acknowledge the real science of children's risks with COVID, 99.9% survival rate. Now let's research the rates of child and teen suicide, depression, mental illness, alcoholism, obesity, the list goes on. Taking your child to the beach or pool on any given day is a risk. When are we going to stop living in fear, ruled by our emotions, and open our eyes to the real science and logic? The virus will not be stopped with cloth masks bought at Target. The FDA and CDC state, while a surgical mask may be effective in blocking splashes and large particle droplets, a face mask, by design, does not filter or block very small particles in the air that may be transmitted by coughs, sneezes, or certain medical procedures. Each family must make the appropriate health decisions based on their medical.
Thank you, Selena. Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Julie Sears, Kelly Carling, Matthew Belcher, Corinne Perez, and Susan Lethold. And good evening almost. Hi, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Julia Sears. I'm a pharmacist, and I'm also a mother. I'm a mother first. I'm here today because of the recent policy that was just made, and it happened very quickly right before school started. And as it started to unfold on Tuesday on day one, I realized it was discriminatory. It's absolutely discrimination. How it's folding out is that an unmasked child near a positive masked child case has no choice but to quarantine, but then a masked child does have a choice.
I gotta write that down.
And then there's also zero proof of a positive case. And we're seeing mothers go on social media and devise a plan to go in and say they have their kid, say that their kid has COVID, and then pull them out, and they're happily in a virtual program because they're afraid to be next to unmasked children. That we need proof of positive cases. You can't just take people's word for it today. A lot of things are crazy. People are lying and fighting. So there has to be proof. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Carling, good evening.
Evening. Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm the mother of 4 children in the public schools, and I would just like to ask that the policy be amended so that students who are positive for antibodies can be exempt from quarantining. I believe the policy is discriminatory against students who have natural immunity as opposed to vaccine-induced immunity. A lot of kids got COVID over the summer and they didn't know it. Just for fun, I took my sons to CVS, and 8 minutes later and a finger prick later, we discovered, oh, they have long-term antibodies. I didn't even know they were sick. So it doesn't make sense to send them home but not vaccinated kids. And I agree with the mothers before me said about the masks not being effective. I know people are desperate for a solution, like masks are going to save us. But, you know, from my understanding, and my husband's a surgeon, surgical masks are to prevent bacteria from entering the surgical field, not to prevent viruses passing through these pores. And also, we know that the kids are not wearing them properly. The teachers aren't wearing them properly. My 13-year-old daughters tell me that when their teachers want to be heard, last year they would come right in their faces, pull the masks down, and yell. They would pull them down and say, "Put your mask on properly." Okay, so here's projectile saliva going in their faces. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And the social media discrimination like going around is true. These moms are planning to send their kids in and say that they are COVID positive and watch what happens. So we should just make the policy neutral.
Thank you. Thank you. Matthew Belcher, Corinne Perez, and then Susan Luthold. Good evening, Mr. Belcher.
Yes, good evening. Matthew Belcher. And yes, to reiterate some of the points, we're at 2,933 as of this morning, at 1,400 a day. We're approaching 5,000 impacted students. I spent 4 hours on the phone this morning calling multiple parts of this district. I spent at least an hour with each administration at the schools that my children attend. I have 2 of 3 already home. I didn't even make it to day 3. And to the point of the masks, the mask mandate absolutely is absurd because both of my children got it from lunch. Their exposure was during lunch where you have to take the mask off. So I feel like I'm watching Idiocracy, a movie that just shows the absurdity of our world, and we're displaying it for our children in full being right here. So some things to consider. The cases that are being pointed out, pediatric cases throughout the state of Florida, they're not taking into account flu and RSV cases. RSV is a current issue right now, and they're finding that most of the RSV cases are COVID positive. If they're counting that in their metrics, then these people are using that for fear mongering and twisting data on its head. I've done enough education in my background to know when I see a false or twisted data set, and I feel like I'm watching that every single day. So I'd just like to make the point that when I worked with the administrators today, every single one of them were frustrated, absolutely frustrated, because they have me coming into their face every morning saying, I'm not going to tell my child they can't be educated. I'm going to let you clarify to them that they're not allowed in the school because of some draconian law that tyrants are throwing down on us. And I want you to understand that that is my child that's suffering. Thank you.
Thank you. Corinne Perez, Susan Luthold. Good evening.
Good evening. I really appreciated your socially distant photo up previously too. That was great. I'm deeply concerned over the decision to make masks mandatory again for Hillsborough County school children. The constant contradictions from the CDC, the board, and the actual messaging on the mask boxes equates to a society barreling towards a post-truth reality world. It pains me to think that you guys are perfectly okay with being an accessory to such a movement. To put it simply, you are in no position to usurp a basic human right, breathing. You have no right to virtue signal at the expense of our children. You have no right to subjugate our kids and jeopardize their physical and mental well-being. You have no right to flagrantly deceive the very people you swore to serve by pacifying them with a pre-summer victory, then baiting and switching your decision at the last second. I ask that you search your soul instead of selling it to special interest groups and understand the long-term repercussions of your decisions. I ask that you do something that's a precious commodity these days, the right thing. Your grandchildren and generations thereafter will have to live with your actions. And when one of them asks you, what did you do to prevent the medical tyranny that deleted the most basic human right, you'll be forced to tell them that you helped to make it so. That's a fate I wish on no one. Do the right thing. Make masks optional, not mandatory in September. Put the children first. Let them breathe. I feel like this is so common sense. Let them see each other smile. Let them be happy to be human again. Thank you.
Thank you. And Susan Luthold? Oh, yes, correct me.
Susan Luthold.
All right. Good evening, Susan.
Good evening. I'm here to ask you to please remove the mask mandates. Teachers are using them to bully our kids. I am an auntie. I have a niece and nephew in Hillsborough County Public Schools. I'm also a mother. The masks are just a source of divisiveness. The mask studies have shown them to be ineffective. There were mask studies, peer-reviewed articles about mask studies before COVID was ever a thing, and they were based on the flu and other respiratory spread, and they showed them to be completely ineffective. So there's nothing new about the mask that you're wearing. So it's not as if our kids are wearing professionally created and lab-tested face coverings, and parents and teachers alike have lost the ability to be rational, and our kids are bearing witness to it. I will forward to the board a peer-reviewed article dated August 9th, 2021, titled Global Prevalence of Depression and Anxiety in Children During COVID-19. It is a meta-analysis of 29 studies where they found the prevalence of depression and anxiety to be 25% and 20% respectively. Also of interest might be the following social media post made by a Florida teacher. Saw the exemption form. Just hope they get verified. Maskless students will sit in the back of the class as far away from me and the masked students as possible. Extra credit for wearing a mask too. Edit to add. I also need to see a list from admin of opted out students. Otherwise, they will wear a mask in my class. IDGAF. There is also then a post by a local Florida parent. Districts do 1, 5, 10, and 20-day counts, tush in chairs. Maybe we can grab our kids an hour in or just call out because quarantine. We could walk in and say our kids were exposed and watch chaos unfold an hour into the first day. We've got to get a grip on this. We're really messing up our kids' mental health. This is not healthy for them.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, that concludes our public comment. And at this time, board members, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. I have a motion by Member Combs, a second by Member Washington. Please vote when your lights appear. And members have voted, and thank you, Member Vaughn. Oops, member, let's correct the record. Member Gray wants to say yes and pressed the wrong button, so that's a yes. Thank you. Here we go. Superintendent comments. So we approved the consent agenda, and I believe it is your turn to share some updates.
Thanks very much, Ms. Gray, and really appreciate it. This evening, just want to go over a couple of highlights for the first week of school in our organization. And talk about new leadership, district leadership within Hillsborough County Public School District, and at the same token, being able to provide an overview of the first week, and then provide an update of our student reopening plan as it has been phased out to our school district. And then talk about phase 2 of the reorganization that we transitioned to in the recent weeks to be able to make certain that we create the best experiences we can within Hillsborough County Public School District. As we look at new leaders, we get a chance to acknowledge leaders, especially principals that have done some, APs that have worked tremendously hard to be able to transition to the next stage. We have so many awesome teachers that are in the pipeline, a number of assistant principals that are prepared and have completed the P&P process, and those who are proud and ready to be able to lead our work. Today, our first individual, I asked him to come up, that is Mr. Joseph Hillbush. Okay, please come up. He is, Mr. Hillbush has been the site coordinator for G.W. Carver and Mendez Exceptional Center, and also has been a site coordinator at Lopez as well. He will now take on the new responsibility as principal at Caminiti Exceptional Center. Mr. Joseph Hillbush, please come up, Joseph. Thank you. Mr. Hillbush. Thank you. In addition, trying to be able to, fill a position of Memorial Middle School. One of the greatest leaders in this district that I've been here to be able to interact with. I had to talk her out of transition and out of the school because she loves her children so much. Becker, Shay McRae was a big part of that process, along with Ms. Brown and others. So we got a chance to put her in a regional superintendent position, but filling the void of Memorial because she has genuinely transformed that school to a new place that's thriving for children. But being able to go back and look at and find a leader that has somewhat the same mentality, the same abilities and skill set to build a solid culture, And this individual has done that as he has been in the state education for over 27 years. This individual was in, I think, Hillsborough since 1996. Is at Buchanan. At the same token, he's been at Sly for the last 4 years as assistant principal. So he's worked alongside one of the best principals in this district, Mr. Jones, in our new principal memorial to carry on what's going on with it. April as the foundation is Mr. Brent Williams. Anthony. Come on, stand up. Then I don't know if Miss Colleen Fawcett's here this evening. She got a lot of work to do. She's been rock and rolling. She has been the director of administration. She's been an area coach. She's been a principal at so many years in Hillsborough County, and she'll lead the work now, transition from director of administration to executive director of high school programs. She did such a wonderful job with our graduations and controlling this building and many other buildings, and she'll do a great job being able to learn the mechanics of acceleration. And let's give her a round of applause. She's not here this evening. Let's give her a round of applause for her hard work. And then in addition that we also have an individual that continues to lead the work as a leader of our DJJ services. He is a dedicated individual that really has a heart for children, that really continues to be innovative in his solutions, and he was remarkable in the interview process. And he will lead as the new executive director of innovation with Mrs. Bays, and he'll lead accelerated academies, success centers, and along with ESC centers for 13 centers, and that is Mr. Ernest Wood. All right, and I think we have, I think Ms. Norman's here as well. She's now transitioned to become an AP, a new AP. Welcome. I don't know if we have anybody else here. We want to be able to celebrate them, but congratulations. Thank you for what you do. If you'll line up and take a picture, they'll take a picture for each of you. Please know you're not alone. We're here to support you along the way, and congratulations to each of you. You can jump in, Ms. Norman, if you want to jump in real fast. Once again, congratulations and welcome. All right, so the first week of school, really awesome first day. Thank you to all of our teachers, our support staff, our leaders for really getting prepared to be able to launch the first day. I can just see it in the eyes of so many of our students, many of those who've had masks on. All of our teachers, our community members, they were so ready to be able to get our children back into our classrooms. And you need to understand that, while I've been here for 17 months, some of our students have not been back in classrooms since that particular time. So getting students back into our...
I think the closer I'm getting to the...
All right, well, watch the video. It's okay, run it. We just got to go with it. Yeah.
I think the more thoughts I'm getting into, how would I want to...
There we go. Video of our first week. Gotta go. So thank you for dealing with the technical difficulties, but you can see what a really cool day to get a chance to interact with our children and our, going to so many of our classrooms. We had teaching taking place the first day, rituals, routines, content, students actively engaged in the learning process. That's exactly what we want to do, and continue to build upon the foundations we did last year. As it relates to overall enrollment, this is day 2. We don't, day 3 is probably in my inbox right now. Ms. Marie saying yes. We have around 193,000 students that we are serving. That number continues to go up every day in the next 2 weeks. We'll continue to make certain that information is in front of the board and the community, and as you see that we continue to move it in the right direction. We're projected around 220,000 students, and every day we'll continue to recruit. And many thanks to our support staff who continue to actively engage and contact those who have not shown up as of yet, and also to our data processors who continue to enroll students. We know that you are overwhelmed, and in the same token, really hats off to our bus drivers who continue to do multiple runs. Thank you so very much for getting our children to school. It's so important. And our custodial staff members and our cafeteria workers are doing remarkable work as well. And then we're looking at the opt-out. One of the questions this night was about how many of our students have opted out to date. And this is those who've completed the form. We have around 14.5% of our students that have opted out not to wear a mask. And so the majority of our students are wearing masks. The majority of our teachers are wearing a mask. And you see that the majority of our students who are opting out are at the secondary level. And that's an opportunity because they had accessibility to the vaccination in an earlier stage. So just want to be able to share that information with you. And then also just want to regroup back to our reopening plan for all of our parents. We sent that out over a couple of days back. Just being able to interact with that document. It talks about the learning solutions that we offer related to brick and mortar. At the same token, being able to offer Hillsborough Virtual, and then also it goes in to talk about what we're doing to ensure that we continue to mitigate COVID and the variant within our school district by having sanitation stations, which is inclusive of masks, gloves, wipes, hand sanitizers in our common areas, and then making certain we have directional walkways where we can, and being in trying to stagger in and out related to arrival and dismissal where we can as well. I said from the very get-go, 17 months ago, being able to social distance is very complex in education. We're just not built that way. We'll do everything we can where possible. Thank you to our teachers who have modified their classrooms to try to make that a reality. And then in the same token, we'll continue to make sure we have rapid response teams that continue to clean every single day within our classrooms where in need in our custodial staff. Face coverings, once again, it's opt-out where needed. And then also promotes, this also talks about self-screening, please, from our teachers to our caregivers and our parents. If your child doesn't feel well, please keep them home, check their symptoms so they don't infect others. And also being able to identify procedures of quarantine versus isolation. Those who are quarantined, we now have permission for that to be an excused absence for stay at home. And then looking at the vaccination protocols related to those who have to quarantine and those who do not. And then volunteer protocols in the next, within the first 30 days, being able to truly protect our environments and being able to make certain those who are on our campus are mission critical. And the principals will continue to work through that process, and it identifies how we'll continue to offer instructional quarantine processes. And I know that Mr. Connors will continue to work on standing up for elementary and also to tutors for 6 through 12. Tutoring is really a good idea. It's about students that need help in any particular subject, content, and skills. That's what tutors are there to do. They're not there to teach overall where the kid is, really to help them be able to master that work as well. And it'll be one of the most innovative things that we've done in a while to make that a reality. So, we wish we had enough staff to be able to stand up to do the transition to e-learning. We just don't do it. We saw the complexities last year. No one did it well in the state, and not many that are handful are doing it throughout the state. And then reorganization, one of the biggest things, and I appreciate the board and Dr. Hahn making sure that we're very transparent related to our reorganization. There's a number of areas tonight. It would be as an information item that we made adjustments from Chief of Transformation. We transitioned from 28 schools that were DNF schools, which cut those in half to 14 and expanded to 45. Really getting to a part where schools are making certain that we have concentration so that we have the right supports, the right leadership, and that it's systemic approach for resources. We added some additional regional superintendents to reduce the span of control so we can really work on building the capacity of our principals and assistant principals, and then added 15 instructional coaches, which all be leveraged with ESSER dollars. And of those 15 positions, those individuals know that in 2 years those positions go dormant, as they will not be continued the following after the implementation. And then chief of schools, really moving away a number of ancillary divisions that really bogged up some of the work from chief of schools. Openly, Ms. Bays had so much under her umbrella last year. She really needed to be able to focus on schools, supporting principals, and having greater communication. So being able to move Hillsborough Virtual, leadership development, student engagement, and the director of administration out of chief of schools, and allow Ms. Burkett to truly work on, focus on regional superintendents, support of schools, engaging with our constituents, and focusing on progress monitoring and implementing the curriculum within our school district, and then being able to remove all of the grade band chiefs that we currently had. It was just another layer where communication got bogged down, and going from the chief of schools directly to our regional superintendents, and then adding a deputy director who continues to help overall that process. From the chief of equity and diversity, this is looking at national models in urban, school districts are along the way, looking at different verticals for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and really mainstreaming Office of Civil Rights, Exceptional Education, ESE, FACE, all to have that cohesive approach for being able to include every one of our students and making certain that they have an equitable opportunity to be successful. And then Chief of Innovation, really looking at designing a thoughtful position that really looked at strengthening all of our choice and magnet programs, doing an audit, looking at our workforce, being able to look and define and hold charters accountable within our school district, and then also being able to take all of the workforce, CTE, virtual, and put them in one, so we don't duplicate we don't duplicate services unless there's it's a model, and we try to do it in geographical locations, and then add in a host to that process because we can be innovative in that offering as well before and after school. And then finally, climate and culture and strategic planning and partnership, climate and culture, and I have to say this division has millions upon millions of dollars that we'll have to interact with, and being able to give this division ESSER, which is going to be $750 million as well. Does a really wonderful job, Ms. Brown, and not only with the federal dollars, but also with early childhood support teams, communities and schools, and being able to have the administrative side, and then strategic planning, being able to have that outreach and that liaison to be able to coordinate all of our efforts. Overall, we saved $259,000 doing this reorganization, and that $259,000 goes back into our general fund where we can leverage it and use it to help our fund balance as we move forward. That's it.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I think we have a few items, the few board members that would like to make a remark or a response. Member Vaughn, then Member Perez, Member Hahn, Member Snively. Member
Thank you,
Vaughn?
Madam. Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Superintendent Davis, for giving us that update, answered some of the questions. Was that record request accurate? Are we quarantining about 3,000 students currently?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Over 2,000 students have been quarantined to date.
Okay, so I would like to make a formal request as a board member to see if we can add the quarantine information to the dashboard so we can, collectively and holistically look at not just who's getting tested positive, but who's quarantining. And, when we're talking about learning loss, we need to know how many kids are in our schools and how many kids aren't. And also some other requests that I'd like to make are, I know we've talked about this, but getting testing on site. Talking about if we can do any kind of incentives for our employees to get vaccinated. I know Orange County has done something like that. I'd like to know Kelly staffing. How are they doing as far as substitute teachers or concerning coverage on this? Do we have enough sub for the teachers that are quarantined?
So right now the fill rate currently is over 57%. We know that that number is not an attractive number, but we're going to take everything that we can. We are leveraging school-based coaches, also district staff to be able to go into fill positions And we'll continue to make certain that we work with Kelly to hold them accountable to be able to recruit. The problem is with COVID continuing to ramping up, it's just hard to get individuals. It's no different than bus drivers, no different than being able to fill positions and host. It's just been very complex to be able to fill a number of these positions that we offer, and we're not alone. This is throughout the state and nation.
And has a list been provided to teachers of the opt-out students at this point?
Yes, the principals have that information to be able to share with their staffs.
And what are the metrics for switching? I know last year we had metrics on closing schools. I mean, what percentage rate are we looking at to change some of the policies or revisit that we have as far as if, this gets more intense and the numbers climb higher? What are our metrics as far as closing schools or pivoting some of these policies?
Yeah, so last year we used an information between 10 and 15% that we looked at our schools to determine whether or not, and that's particular to staff and also with students who were quarantined, and determine whether or not we can continue to provide services to our students in a proactive solution and proactive manner. If we get to a point where we'll use that to be able to determine if we need to have a site visit to figure out what's going on and work with our COVID leads, and also determine whether or not we need to get Department of Health or TGH on site to determine if additional protocols need to be or safeguards need to be put in place. So that's kind of where we are related to that. We do have a number of our schools that have a number of individuals that are out, but you got to understand we've been in school for a couple of days, and in that process, it takes a number of days to be identified that those individuals have been tested positive for, to become positive in for COVID, meaning that they just, they didn't come to school and automatically they got COVID. They've had it for, it takes a number of days for those signs to be able to be identified. So we're just reacting to what has happened in the community for both staff and in addition for students at this stage.
Okay, and two more questions. I've heard several parents and community members talk about our lunchroom procedures. What have we done to keep our lunchroom safe? And then I'd like a legal update from Mr. Porter about other counties as far as the mandates they've done and the Department of Education response to that. If there are counties that are bucking the guidelines and whether funding has been held, because from my understanding at this point we're looking at funding being held equivalent to our salaries and to the superintendent's salaries, roughly, which I think is about $700,000, which is very different than the billions we were talking about. So I just want to get an idea, about funding being held from counties who have, put in stricter guidelines.
Yes, ma'am. So I say that one thing we have in our common areas is very difficult to social distance. In our cafeterias, when we serve breakfast in the morning, there has to be a requirement that we cannot serve an open lunch until close to, I think it's near an hour and 45 minutes or potentially 2 hours, that we cannot start lunch. And then, for us to properly, social distance in the facilities, and some of our cafeterias are smaller than others. To be able to social distance, we would need the entire day to be able to serve lunch, which we don't have the opportunity to do. We do think that some of our, we do think, and I say not think, but thank our teachers that have lunch or breakfast in the classroom. But that is also bargained, and that has to be approved by the staff, who they have to be willing to do that. And openly, staff that are doing those elements and pushing that, they're doing it because they understand where we are from an organization. But also, you got to understand, we take that time away from the teacher, the educator, to not have time for themselves. And we got to have a chance for them to be able to let their hair down. So that has to be approved. It cannot be mandated. And then we want our teachers and principals to continue to be able to leverage, rooms that are connected to the cafeteria, being our common areas, or outside where they can. The issue is right now sometimes it's extremely hot to be able to go outside, and if we don't have covered, and most of our covered areas are being used by our physical education classes, then those individuals have the freedoms to do that, but you got to find the right spot in the right area where they feel most comfortable. As it relates to, for me, related to going outside of the guidelines for the executive order, the new rule or a clarification from the Department of Education and Department of Health, I'm openly going to stay in line unless this board wants to make a different decision. If the board wants to make a different decision, then as superintendent, my job is to support you in that process. I proved that when at a last meeting at the State Board of Education. But right now, my job is to follow all guidelines and expectations established.
Thank you. And when Mr. Porter has an opportunity, if he could just give us an update on that legal, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Perez, then Member Hahn.
Not now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, thank you, Member Vaughn, for bringing that up. Because, the dashboard, when the parents look at it, it's showing that the cases, it only shows 262 students and staff and 144 students on there. So that should have been updated from.
That's accurate.
No, well,
that's accurate for the number. Excuse me, through the chair. That's accurate for the number of students that are positive and number of teachers are positive. That from the day one.
okay, because we have 2,933 students.
That's quarantines, and through the chair, quarantines are so hard. It's very complex. That's a moving target every minute, every time. So we're never. I'm just going to be very honest. We would never have accurate data that's real time. It's really complex to set that system up because you have so many kids moving in at different particular times. They're quarantined in and out, and it's going to be not that we do capture that, but for the public to feel like that's going to be something that's a reality and that something's going to be real time, it's not going to be that way. And I can yield to Mr. Bunkley or Mrs. Brown about the complexities behind that.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. You are absolutely right. Because students can come off of quarantine any day, then it changes the numbers every single day. So it's always a moving target. It's very, very fluid. In some ways that's good because it means we're getting kids back in school, but it also means that it's very difficult at any given time to give an exact number because it could change in a matter of minutes.
Well, the number of COVID positive ones are listed daily. So what's the difference between the ones that are quarantined?
Because based on our new quarantine procedure, our new quarantine protocol, there are students that can come back after taking a test, after they've been exposed to someone who's tested positive. They can come back after taking a test, a diagnostic test, after 5 days. If they get the results on day 5 that they take the test, they can come back in that day. They can also, if they don't get the results on day 5 and they get it on day 6, they can come back on day 6. So whether I check the dashboard reflects that number at 9 o'clock in the morning, it may be very different at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just based on students moving in and out based on quarantine and when they can return from quarantine. But we do have information about the impact, but it's hard to publish that when it's consistently changing.
I just feel that this number is vital to us, especially due to learning loss and due to the fact that we do not have e-learning. Let me say why. Because a lot of our students are bused from one side of the district to the other. So if you're expecting these students to pick up a packet, to get their lessons, and the parents cannot get to the schools to pick up the packets for these students, us as board members need to understand that 2,933 students are impacted in learning loss, especially in the first 3 days of school. This is a big number for us. And when we're looking at 262 as opposed to 2,933. And when we're making decisions in this district regarding our students, their learning, and the ability to access their classes, this is vital for us, at least for me. I don't know about the other board members, but this number is impactful. How are these 2,000, almost 3,000 students receiving their lessons? How are they being contacted to get their reading, their math, their lessons completed, especially, like I mentioned, when the majority of these students, and then, the fact that we got the 14 schools doing better, we don't want to lose that leverage, that momentum with our students, but we also want to make sure that we're keeping in touch, not just with this board, with the district, but keeping in touch with these students. throughout this year. And I feel that this number is imperative for us to understand what's happening in this district. And I know I need to get back into the queue, but I just feel that's extremely important. Like I said, but you also mentioned that Hillsborough Virtual is not something that a student can jump into and jump out of, jump into and jump out of. So it's going to affect our students. And so I need to know how we could get this on a dashboard for, at least for us as board members, to understand what's happening with our students.
Thank you. Member Perez, your comments are extremely important, as every board member is. I would go ahead and ask board members to make your initial comment. Should you have further comments, please wait to your own comments at the end, because we haven't even begun this discussion agenda. And these are very important topics that Member Perez and, of course, Member Vaughn has chosen. So, board members, if you could just keep those remarks, your second remarks, to the end of the board meeting till we get done with the business part, would be appreciated. Superintendent Davis, did you want to make a remark?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. And to Mrs. Perez's point, it's all very important. And this is why the students should not come to school. Parents should not send students to school that have symptoms. This is why we're being quarantined. If those students would have stayed home, we would not be, first 3 days, they didn't catch COVID in our school. So if they would have stayed home, then we would have quarantined no one. This is why you got to have the health checks that happen every single day. It's important. But we do. We're in a much better space related to being able to serve children for those who may particular have to go quarantine. Now, is it a perfect world? We'd love to have enough teachers to be able to embrace them in an e-learning world, but we just can't afford it, and class size creates inconsistencies. But know that we have the quarantine center, we have resources. Majority of our students, and I say that Mr. Farkas, they're busing their neighborhood schools in this district for the majority part of it. So they're going to neighborhood schools where they have accessibility to schools. If they need a packet for those, for the most part, though, we have a lot of the stuff that are digital. We can address any digital divide where needed. But Mr. Connor, you want to talk about what we're doing to be able to continue instruction?
To Ms. Perez's point, it's a challenge. This is a real challenge that we have to face, and so we've been problem solving in academic services, and how can we do this the most efficient way with the limited resources that we do have. And so we have made sure that everything in Canvas is up to date with all of the curriculum resources at the fingertips of our teachers and our students. So when there is that absence and that student is disconnected, if they do have a device, and we will work, like the superintendent said, to make sure that if there is a divide when it comes to any gaps in technology, that we'll provide those to our students so that they can be effectively connected to the learning. So the Canvas resources are up to date. That is our main communication tool between students and teachers in a virtual setting. That's where their grades are. That's where the teacher resources are. The assignments are all updated continually. The Quarantine Resource Center is also up to date with lessons and resources at this moment in time, so that we can ensure that students stay connected and parents have an avenue to connect through the Resource Center as well. We are continuing right now. We are actually advertising 10 teacher positions at K-5 or pre-K-5, where we will have the opportunity, students can connect through Teams to have someone that they can interact with those assignments that their own teacher has sent home during that quarantine process. So essentially an example would be if a third grader was sent home in quarantine. My son was quarantined today, actually, as a fifth grader. And so that student would be sent home with the work. Then as that student works through those packets over the 4 days or maybe 7 days that they will be quarantined, they can connect to a live teacher through a virtual setting. That teacher is going to be there to help them immediately with what they're working with in the classroom. It's not a random lesson that may be disconnected from what they're learning. That only frustrates parents, that frustrates the students if it's not connected. So essentially these certified teachers will be on demand to help with whatever problems they're having at that time. So that's our K-5 model. In 612, it's a little more challenging because there are several subjects, and we do not have certified experts on call in all of these subjects, whether that be physics, calculus, or all of that. So we're exploring, and I'll be meeting with each of you here in the next week to talk about a solution, a virtual solution, where students can have 24/7 access to a live tutor. These tutors are background checked. The way that they facilitate this tutoring is not to give answers to students. They use what's called a Socratic method, and it helps students walk students through their problems so that they come to a solution on their own, and it's a virtual tutoring session. And everything is captured and saved for the teacher when that student returns back. So any interactions that are occurring in this virtual setting is saved for the teacher to review, so to ensure where that student may have some breakdowns when they come back into the classroom and get back on track. So those are just some things, again, to the superintendent's point. It's not a perfect solution, but it is, I think, a good solution to where we're at right now. And obviously, as these numbers spike, I do see that we'll be leveraging all of those resources to the maximum.
So, Mr. Connor, Superintendent Davis, it may be necessary to meet as you are on the one-on-ones, especially with the tutoring. I don't know if all board members are familiar, and that's why these questions are being asked, and it's not a perfect system. But at any rate, with brevity, Member Hahn.
Thank you, Member Gray. I appreciate the time. Thank you, Superintendent Davis, for the summary sheets and the fiscal worksheets. I appreciate that. I know that, again, given our financial situation, this information is really valuable to the board. We just got it pretty late. I haven't had a real chance to review it, digest it, and so I know there's not going to be a whole lot of conversation tonight because we all need to review it. I don't know if we can put this on a workshop and have a board discussion around it, and we can all go over it together and have an opportunity to ask questions and so forth. So I'd like to make a request for a workshop around this, and so thank you again, for, you and your team. I know it's a lot of work. Also, the ESSERS dashboard, could you kind of give us an update on that, where we are with it? I know, Jeremy, I've had some sneak peeks. It looks good.
We are actually ready to release the ESSER dashboard. All we're doing is framing the data. We're framing the wording around the data because we don't want to give people a false narrative. So it is just basically building the description around it, and we'll have it on the website no later than Monday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I know that it'll be very informative to the board members, to our financial committee when we get that put in place, as well as our constituents who always ask a lot of questions via email, face-to-face conversations and phone calls around how these dollars are being spent, how many of the dollars have already been released. We want to just kind of make sure that there's no misinformation out there, and we're being very transparent because it is a lot of money. And we just want to make sure that we're communicating that we're spending it in impactful ways and responsible ways. So thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, you and your staff. I know you put a lot of work into that, and I'm really excited that that's going to get launched. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. And yes, to the workshop, you'll give me a description. And secondly, yes, the dashboard, the visual is so critical for folks to be able to see. Thank you, Jeremy. And next, we have Member Snively, then Member Combs.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I wanted to ask, and I know we've talked a lot about quarantine, but I wanted to get some clarification around the protocols, because you've got the CDC guidelines and you've got the Department of Health ruling. And so my question that I'm getting from parents is, are we following the Department of Health ruling that came out recently to the letter, or are we deviating from the Department of Health ruling in any way? And if so, how are we deviating from the Department of Health ruling?
It's a good question. Ms. Brown.
Thank you. We are following the Florida Department of Health protocol the guidance that they've provided regarding quarantine for students.
Okay.
We have not changed our quarantine for adults. We have modified the quarantine for students, and I will make sure it should be up on the website. We have included it in our FAQ, but we have a more detailed flow chart that we'll provide for you.
I think that would definitely be helpful because as you could hear in some of the public comment today, there's still a little bit of confusion about quarantine guidelines even for students and if a student has had previously had COVID or tested positive in the last 90 days or had been vaccinated versus or masked or unmasked. And so I think there's still a little bit of confusion around how quarantine works. What I'm mainly concerned about, in addition to getting that information out, is making sure that we're not discriminating, because that is part of the ruling as well. That is number 6, non-discrimination, because there are a lot of people who are a little bit hesitant to fill out the opt-in forms. They're not sure where their information is going, if it's going to be made available to anyone outside of the school district. They're a little bit afraid of discrimination and possible harassment if their child, if they fill out that form. Is it a target list? I want to reassure the parents that there is no discrimination for students, and we don't have a policy yet. It was in the policy proposal packet today. I had actually put in one to amend the student privacy and parental access to information policy. Unfortunately, we didn't get to it today, but I'd really like to emphasize that policy needs to be revised to include any medical information that is disclosed on a survey, that should not be allowed, obviously, out of our school district to a third party. We don't have a policy in place for that specifically, so I'd like to just let the board members know that hopefully that is coming soon. But how do we, one, make sure parents are getting the opt-out form if they want it, and two, make sure that we're not discriminating against students whose parents have chosen to not mask their students?
Yes, ma'am. First and foremost, we sent that out through on our website on Saturday and all through our community on social media as well, so they can have it. Also, we have a printed version for our parents to be able to, if they need it and don't have availability to any type of technology. And for those who would like a copy, there's a checkbox that they can select on the form that sends them a copy of what they actually acknowledge for them to be able to opt out. One thing that we are not going to do, we will not discriminate, we will not use this information in any way, shape, or form. It is going to be able to provide it in EdConnect. That just gives an indicator of that individual parent selection for their child. So we will not use that information against children. And one of the executive rulings from the Department of Health and also the Department of Education really strengthens that we should not harass, we should not bully, we should not intimidate, and that's all inclusive of mask requirements. So we're trying to be very sensitive in this process, but also respect where we are in the community related to COVID and in the uptick. So, while we're being sensitive to the current situation, we're also trying to respect parent choice.
And if a person doesn't have an electronic device, or maybe they don't have access to the electronic version of the opt-out form, how would they get a paper copy of that? Because it's not automatically coming home with students, as far as I know. It didn't come home in my student's packet. So where would a person be made informed and get a copy of that?
So they can contact the school. The school will have the accessibility to be able to send that home, or the parent can pick it up. One thing we are doing for those students that who may not have filled out the opt-out form, but they're choosing not to wear their mask, we've openly identified those individuals of opting out. However, we're going to try to have a touch point through this week and beginning of next week for those who are not wearing a mask for the parent, just to validate their current stance. So we respect them in any way, shape, or form. If they need a mask, we'll provide a mask. And for those who do not, we'll continue to implement their wishes in that process.
Thank you. And then finally, Ms. Perez made a very good point about, communicating with children while they're quarantined. And, last year you had acquired electronic devices and Wi-Fi for students who are not able to connect to our school district. Are you doing that again this year? Does every student who gets quarantined have access to electronic device and Wi-Fi?
So right now, for any student that may need that, and for 4 days or 7 days, they just gotta connect with the school. And the school, we also I'll push Mr. Bunkley to see if we have availability, and we also know that we have hundreds of Wi-Fi hotspots for those who may need it. And then we partnered last year with the Hillsborough Educational Foundation as well to make that connectivity. So any student at that particular time that goes out for 4, 7, or 10 days, they just need to reach out if they need any type of assistance, and we'll try to create that Band-Aid so they can continue the instruction momentum. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Member Snively. And yes, we do have to work on updating our policy. I agree, because this COVID will be around for probably a long time, and we have to start looking at that language for discrimination as well. Next, we have Member Combs, and then I'll just say a few things. Combs?
Thank you, Chair Gray. A lot of my questions have been answered today, but we can see by the public comment today, everything's very divisive. People really feel strongly either they're pro-mask or anti-mask. I really felt like it was a compromise saying that, students would be mandated to wear masks and they can opt out. So if someone feels really passionate about not wearing a mask, they can opt out. So one thing that I wanted to clarify, having 2 children last year who were quarantined 5 times, right? I have 2 students. My daughter was quarantined 3 times and missed 38 days of school last year. So I think it's important to know that our quarantine guidelines are no different now with masks or without masks. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, to the chair, that is correct.
Okay.
Unless Ms. Brown, you see.
So there is one small new piece that we have, and if both children, the student that tested positive and the student that was a close contact, were both wearing masks, then there is an exclusion from the quarantine.
Okay, thank you so much.
Is it to the chair? Sorry, to the chair. Can I ask a question? I don't get a chance to ask questions. Is that still between 3 feet, 6 feet, and the same token, 15 minutes?
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
It's
Sorry.
for,
I just want to make sure.
for if they were no less than 3 feet apart.
Okay. And I do think that it's important to see the number of students in quarantine, because although, it moves every day, we know that, for example, maybe it's Jefferson High School, they had 100 students quarantined. It doesn't matter the amount of days. We just need to see where we're going. And we know that these numbers are going to be high. And I do appreciate all the work that Mr. Connor and Ms. Simic and everybody has done to ensure that there's learning, and we're doing everything that we can under a really difficult time. I know that we're really thinking outside the box much more than a lot of our surrounding counties, and I want to thank you all for that. The other thing I have a question about is, we talk about mandating, and I know that the union even took a poll. A lot of teachers don't want it mandated as well. I think it's important to understand that when we talk about mandating for everyone, there are a lot of people who don't want that mandate as well. It's important to know that it's not just, coming from us. It's also coming from outside the school as well, and the teachers that possibly don't want that. So when we talk about anti-bullying, we need to talk about anti-bullying as well for teachers who are wearing them and teachers who are not wearing them. This is a very hard time. I know everybody feels very strongly about it. I am very concerned. There's no question that our hospitals are filled. There's no question that our schools are going to be super spreaders. We know this. So I just think it's really important to talk about anti-bullying on both, not just the children, but also the teachers who are choosing not to wear them, because I do think that a teacher is often 6 feet away from students. So if you are really thinking about mandating probably a classroom of 35 students, they are more likely to transmit than a teacher who's 6 feet away. I think that's very important that we discuss that. As well as one of my biggest concern is lunches. And we do have this ESSER money. Can we start thinking outside the box of what we can do, at different individual schools to try to mitigate what is happening in the lunchroom? And I don't know, we have so many people here. I really would like to look at different schools, and I think mainly for the elementary schools, because middle school and high school do have an opportunity. Most middle schoolers and high schoolers do have an opportunity to be vaccinated.
Yes, ma'am, through the chair. We have been looking through operations, really looking at, there's particular interventions that you can put in common areas such as the lunchrooms that are greater filters to be able to kind of clean that air. And we met with multiple vendors to determine if we can leverage whether it be capital dollars, ESSER dollars, to bring in the common areas to have it and create a better environment through the airflow. Mr. Farkas, anything on that?
I just wanted to add to that problem because what we have is a shortage of individuals in the student nutrition area, and also they're affected by the COVID protocols as well. So making sure that we have enough people out there, the lunchroom aid, things like that as well. As the superintendent did allude to, we definitely have spent time trying to figure out how we can make it a cleaner air. But to the idea of how far apart they can be is a huge challenge. It is, because the amount of time that it takes to the protocol for how long they're in the cafeteria from serving breakfast and how long they're in the cafeteria for lunches. The challenge is they'd be serving all day long to do that. We are open to the idea. We don't want to throw our hands up and say there's nothing we can do, because we haven't done that. But we are very challenged to make sure that we look at every opportunity to do that. We are open to ideas. I've called 4 or 5 other districts, large districts like ours, to see if they have any other ideas on what they're doing. And they're running into similar problems that we have with both staffing and with the challenge of how close people are seated together. The weather obviously is a big part of that. Some kids still eat outside, but hopefully when it cools down a little bit, we'll have more kids that go outside as well. But I know that's not the answer you're looking for, but it's kind of our reality right now.
Thank you, Member Combs. And yeah, indeed, the eclectic choices, as I shared with Superintendent Davis, include, such as Newsom, their lunches in the gym, and some of the middle schools are having lunches in their classrooms. So there are out-of-the-box thinking that needs to be widened. Member Washington, and again, board members, I'm going to go ahead and have your final comments put forth during your comment time so we can begin our agenda. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have some concerns about District 5. So do we have a lot of vacancies in District 5? You know? Can anybody answer that?
The answer to that is we do. We can get that number for you. I know that in transformation, as we looked at over 45 schools, it was over 100 vacancies that we currently have. But we're working the process every single day to fill those vacancies, and we have instructional coaches that are teaching those classrooms so that we can continue that instructional momentum. But the answer is yes, we're working tirelessly for support staff, whether it be interventionists, whether it be certified teachers, school counselors. We're struggling to be able to hire as well. But it's, I know that Dr. Well and her team, along with Shay, has been working tremendously, and Sue, to be able to recruit and try to identify any candidate that we can that's qualified and skilled to be able to come and teach. Dr. Whalen, anything?
Well, you want to say something?
Anything, Shay?
Okay.
No, but one of the things I just wanted to say that when we begin to look at our class loads and balance classes, I do think we'll have an opportunity to fill some of those vacancies as students have moved around and shifted. And so I think once we get to our 5th day count, we look at our counts and our units, we will be able to see if we can have an opportunity to fill vacancies with some overages that might be at other schools. So I think give us some time just to kind of see how that balances out, and we'll be able to look at true vacancies after that point.
Okay. One other question. Transportation, I've had some calls. Buses are not showing up at some of the stops. So what are we doing about what is the problem with that?
There's a bunch. I'll tell you that Area 1 and Area 2 offices, all of our leadership were either quarantined or tested positive. So we had everyone that can drive a bus that works in the district office of transportation is driving a bus. We're over 100 drivers short. Jim Beekman and his team have done a wonderful job of covering with what they can, but it is a huge issue for us. That's what I spend about 90% of my day dealing with right now. And I want to thank the drivers that are out there because they are doing double runs, but it's a real problem. I will tell you that in areas like, I'll use Shields Middle School as an example. It's not in Area 5, but it's a good example. It's always been a challenge from a transportation standpoint. Shay and her team have been out at the school site, transportation focused on it. We've kind of sped it up. And as with transportation, the first week is always a challenge. There's always, some speeding up. Our magnet transfer ramps, as you know, kind of transfer quick as we can. This is a legitimate problem. It's a big problem, and I think that Mr. Davis spoke about it for the probably a month, 2 months before the actual school year started. We've done everything we can. We have job fairs, 2 or 3 times a month. This is not a Hillsborough County issue. Orange County is short 150 drivers. It doesn't help our people, and it still is a challenge, and people don't really have sympathy for that part of it. But it is not just a Hillsborough County issue. It's a huge issue in Florida and across the nation. The Council of Great City Schools forum that I'm on, issues across the country. We're doing everything we can. We're doing double runs in most of those, and our biggest part is trying to communicate to parents. But it's very hard when I have 6 drivers that used to be in the call center, and now I'd rather have them driving buses than answering phones. So the communication is a huge part to us. But I will say everyone on that staff, including myself, is spending as much time as we can on the phones to try to make sure we get all those kids because, to your point, there's a stop missed, going back and making sure we do a sweep, make sure that kid gets picked up. It's our own staff, it's teachers and things like that. That's happened too. We have GPS so we can go back and find it, but it is a challenge. I'd be lying to you if I told you anything different other than that it's a huge challenge for us right now. We're going to continue working at it though.
So we do have double runs a great deal as of now.
All over the place. I mean, we have 100 right now. We have 100 vacancies, which actual runs. We have 18 drivers that are on quarantine, and that's without any absenteeism. And that's about more than double what we're normally at this point of the year.
Okay. One other question I had pertaining to the vacancies. We've always had vacancies at the beginning of the school year, because I had a couple of parents to contact me, and I was explaining to them, even we didn't have COVID, we had a lot of vacancies in the school district. So if we can get those filled, and I know it's kind of difficult to fill them now, because a lot of people who we let go decided to go and do something else. So hopefully we can get teachers in here so we can get started, especially in District 5, because time is of essence. And I also want to thank you, Shay, for great job, and I have to say this, I mean, out of 14 schools, 12 was mine that moved up, and but we still have a long ways to go, but we're working hard. As long as we continue to work hard, we're doing okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Member Washington, and in combo to the conundrum of bus transportation are the long car lines, and I know that we have some safety issues with that in the roads. We've gotten a lot of reports on that, which we've never had before on the initial school year. We're going to have employee comment at 6 p.m. My only comment is I just want to thank the superintendent and the staff for paying attention to diversity. And I'm here to share, and I know Monica Vera-Tirado is very happy, but we have 3 Hispanic folks that have raised in position, with Araceli Martinez-Pena in charge of the multicultural engagement, Alicia Nesbitt, who's now in charge of the hospital homebound, and also Mary Maroney, who is in charge of the exceptional student education. And this is all under the umbrella of equity, diversity, and inclusion. So I'm sure the board is too very happy that we're expanding our efforts to meet the needs of the diverse populations that we serve. Board member?
Madam Chair, just briefly before you move into employee comment, Ms. Vaughn had asked me a question about a legal update about this, and I just need to do that briefly at her request when she was talking to the superintendent about the Department of Health rule. So I can provide this at this point. This is an ongoing situation we're monitoring. Mr. Gibson and I are monitoring what's happening across the state, and at this point I can share with you that Broward County has decided to keep their mask mandate in place, and they've directed their staff to look at potentially challenging the governor's executive order. They haven't done that yet, but they're looking at it. I can also share with you that on Monday, the Commissioner of Education sent a letter to Leon County School District. Leon County, if you'll recall, did a mask mandate and required a doctor's note in order for students to opt out. The commissioner felt that that was a violation of the order issued by the Department of Health. Also on Monday, the governor and the Commissioner of Education had a conference call with the superintendents throughout the state and provided further guidance. And they specifically said that requiring a doctor's note to opt out would appear to go beyond what the Department of Health rule allows. So in short, there are several districts throughout the state, and we can provide a comprehensive list if you want, who are going in a different direction. Hillsborough at this point, as far as masks go, is in compliance with the Department of Health rule and the governor's executive order, and that's the latest update. Again, this is an ongoing situation, and we'll provide updates as needed and appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Porter, and board members. I know that you're in the queue. We will spend time during comment time to explain or at least respond. Superintendent Davis, you see that there are many questions regarding Member Perez with the back to school. How viable is the virtual learning and the tutorials? A lot of time needs to be spent with the board members on that, and some of these questions are we're unprecedented territory. So almost like a every daily update for us board members to keep track of what's going on. This is a very, very, and I'll use the word again, unprecedented. And board members, thank you for being patient. If I could just put you on thoughtful hold till your comment time, that would be appreciated. We're right now in employee comment, and I don't know how many employees we are that we'll hear from, but it's so important. Employees, we want to hear from you. Right now, we'll take your employee input. Even though we hear public comment at the beginning of the meeting, it is sometimes difficult for employees at our district to attend meetings at 4 p.m., especially when school's just started. There are many ways for employees to make their voices heard, including through union representatives, emails, phone calls, one-on-one conversations, and public comment at the beginning of the meeting. The board does want to hear from you. With this section of our agenda, we are creating another avenue for employees to speak to the board. We are setting aside 30 minutes to employees of the district to speak to the board about any issues that are on your mind. This is not intended to be a discussion about specific agenda items on tonight's agenda, but rather an opportunity for you to speak to the board about any issues related to your job or the district. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. I will now call the first 3 speakers. Mr. Crete and Ms. Glickman. Ms. Glick, have I been saying Glickman the whole time? Oh, okay. Okay, good. Hi, Mr. Crete.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Rob Crete, the president of CTA. Excited to be here. Excited. It's the beginning of the school year. You know, we talk to teachers all the time. I can tell you that they are excited to be back with the students. There is nothing that defines exhaustion than the first week of school. I mean, mentally, physically, everything that they're doing. To Member Combs' point, we are polling our members to see what they're doing about masks, at least for the employees. And I can tell you that resoundingly, they're wearing masks. But they also like the idea that in a classroom, when teaching, say, a reading lesson, they can find a spot that's 10 feet from the students, take their mask off, and deliver that lesson with a read aloud, read along. That's a great strategy, by the way. I'm going to be reading aloud. I want you reading along. We're going to do a close read together. So I know when I've been talking to teachers this week, these are things that they're appreciating the ability to do. So I know that they are wearing masks out there, and for the most part, they're vaccinated. So this is a really good thing I think, for the safety of schools. I talked to an elementary school teacher just on my way here. She's like, Rob, we want them safe, but we want to be able to teach them. And honestly, that's their focus. And to Mr. Davis's point in the work that they've been doing in the transformation schools and moving them, despite all that stuff we dealt with last year, we're moving these kids. So the teachers are excited about being able to do this. So we need to work with them and make sure that we are keeping them safe to the best of our ability. I recognize, hey, it's only day 3, but we know the class sizes are pretty high right now. So I hope that we can begin the process of leveling out our classes sooner than later for the sake of the students as well as the teachers. So once we get our 5-day counts in starting on Monday, if we can start looking at that, I think that would be advantageous for safety and for learning for all. There are thousands of vacant teaching jobs across Florida right now, as well as the bus drivers, as Mr. Farkas was talking about. We must make the Hillsborough the place where teachers want to teach first. That's really what we need to do. When we do that and we keep our class sizes at a manageable level, that's a great way to say, hey, come teach in Hillsborough because we're doing awesome things. So I look forward to working with all of you on this, and let's everyone be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crete. Ms. Glick? Good evening.
Hi. Heidi Glick, Alonzo High School. So I decided I live in my own little world. I live in a world where people say please and thank you. I live in a world when you've been waiting an hour for a table and they go last call for Smith party of 2 and you're 2. You don't go up there and say, oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. That's the world I live in. And I also live in that world at Alonzo. We're amazing. I've had 3 incredible days. I go home exhausted but very happy. I'm happy to wake up the next morning. My kids, most of them are masked, some are not. That's their choice. They volunteer to tell me whether they've been vaccinated or not. I try to stay, not that I don't adore them, but as far away as humanly possible because, they're kids. But it's just amazing. You guys have done such amazing stuff for Alonzo with our new principal and our new APC. I can't thank you enough, and I'm running out of things to complain about. So people are confused as to why I'm still coming here. So I found a little tiny thing.
Oh, no.
Somebody hit the buzzer.
Little tiny thing. And what I want to talk about are religious holy days, where people of different religions have to take days off. So my retirement fund is going to be out of about $10,000 because of the days that I have to take off. And I was thinking that to save money, and because our substitutes fill has been so low, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are on September 7th and September 16th. So I'm at the best school, you guys, and I have the best students in the school. And Dr. William can tell you my classes are very easy to sub for. So I think it might be an idea that board members as well as district staff pick a school for those 2 days. I'm being very, very serious to see what we're going through now and to volunteer to come. I mean, obviously, I'm not the only person that takes off those days at Alonzo or in schools, but to assign someone to schools that are near their home to come and see what it's like with, at Alonzo, 1,000 people at lunch and with 35 and 36 kids in a class. And I think that would be a good use of, you want to do my classes? You got it. Okay, I'm going to tell. Sorry. Wait, I want them. One can take one day and one can take the other. But you know what? I hate to say this, but I'm really not out, but I'll call you guys if something comes up. I was out the day after I got my second shot because I was out for the count. But I just want to say looking into religious days for everyone, for every religion, is important. I take half a day of comp time on Good Friday. A lot of people can use comp time, but I'm not able to use my comp time for my holy days, and other people of other religions are not. So putting in those 2 religious days for us to use, everyone to use, whichever religion they are, makes a lot of sense. And then people that don't have comp time and have to take a sick day won't have to do that either. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Glick. And yes, I remember we, Ms. Pepe and myself, we substituted for quite a long time in the schools 3 years ago. So I guess we're going to do it again. Board members, you better pick. But at any rate, we'll keep that subject matter light, but it's real. The need will be real. So right now we'll go to discussion agenda. And Superintendent Davis, you'll be on for 1, 2, 3, well, there's about 5. And we're going to take off 708, so just cross that out. Doesn't need to be discussed. I pulled it, but I didn't need to. So this is 102, approve the proposed Hillsborough County Public Schools uniform testing calendar for the 2021-2022 school year. Superintendent Davis, you'll highlight it, and Member Vaughn pulled this item.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you to the chair. We know that last year there was just a lot of things going on, and one of the things related to that, we had an increased number of assessments for our students, and we worked diligently this year to be able to identify, a progress monitoring plan that would be able to be reduced throughout the majority of our grade levels. And I'm thankful for a team of leaders that got together to be able to concentrate on this, along with Dr. Binder, Mr. Connor, Mr. Simic, and their team members, because this year we will decrease the overall percentage of testing in our schools. Is it ever enough? We wish that we would continue to eliminate as much as we can, but as you understand the statutory requirements, we have to have a progress monitoring plan outlined by the Department of Education that is separate and outside of what the department asks for. While the department makes assessments reality for FSAs, FCAT Science 2.0, along with EOCs. We also have additional assessments that our students go through ACE, IB, dual enrollment, in the course examinations, whatever it may be. So being able to really have a thoughtful plan, not only that approves to the board by October 1st for the Department of Education about what our plan looks like for their mandatory assessments, but also bringing our progress monitoring along with optional assessments that may be put in place. So we will see that we dropped in K-12 from 3.3% of the instructional time to 2.3% of the instructional instructional time for testing, which is an overall 1% reduction of seat time minutes spent on testing in Hillsborough County. We'll chip away at that every single year. We'll be able to do our best, and I'm going to turn over to Dr. Binder to be able to discuss kind of where we are, what we offer, what's mandatory, and why we have to have that progress monitoring plan by the state.
Thank you. Yes, the state has come out with you can't go more than 5% of seat time per grade level for testing. The state does take some of that time with FSA because, as you all know, that is a required mandated assessment that we must give. The remaining percentage of seat time has to be used for progress monitoring. So this year I was tasked to significantly reduce that, and I take that word significantly to heart because I'm an evaluator at heart. So we looked at all of what was on the table, and I am a firm believer, and I do not want to give a test that is meaningless and noise. So everything that we currently have on the calendar not only will be used to guide instruction, but it will also be used to guide the work towards predicting the summative assessment, which would be that FSA. We use these assessments for multiple things, not just for progress monitoring. We use these for student grades. We use these for the evaluation on teachers with VAM, because that's also something that we have in our teacher plan that we have to have. Nothing that's on here can be, at this point, can be taken away. It's either tied up with the pupil progression plan, it's tied in with VAM, or it's a state required progress monitoring tool. We've tried to reduce as much as we can, but still meet all of the requirements of the calendar. So there's two things that we have. We have the uniform testing calendar, which is required. We have to publish that on our district website. We have to send it to the state of Florida saying that it has been approved. And that's where we have these required minutes that come in. And that's where we started to have the conversation of required versus optional. We took everything that we had, because I'm also somebody that believes in guiding the work. And there's a difference between a required assessment that is used for progress monitoring as more of a yardstick on how the trajectory is going from beginning to end, and then those optional formative measures that are short, that can be given quick snapshots, and they are not formal, they are not high stakes. They really are a tool to guide the work. If I'm a teacher who teaches reading, and I was a reading teacher for a long time in middle school, I wouldn't just make assumptions that my students in my classroom know everything that I'm saying. I would want to know if I'm going in the right way. So I would give an assignment, and I would use it. And an article with questions could be a worksheet. It's how you send it into the classroom and how you provide it to your students, but it doesn't have to be called a test. A test and a worksheet with a story and questions are very similar to each other. It's how you use the information. And we're really working hard with everything that we have, including School City, to leverage the more optional formative assessments. We're guiding administrators on school campuses. We have different reporting options in School City now to where those formative tests can be looked at for right and wrong answers to see patterns. Is it content or is it item type that is a problem for our students? We're seeing a lot of differences with how we're using the data, and that's where we're trying to go to. That these are not high stakes. These are supposed to be embedded in instruction to really guide the work.
Thank you, Ms. Binder, and Member Vaughn, and then Member Combs.
Thank you very much. And thank you. I just want to say thank you to my board members. I pull quite a few items each meeting, and I really appreciate the patience as we go through these items. So I just want to say thank you for that. But the reason I pulled this item was I do think it's important for the public to understand what our testing schedule looks like, especially because with Dr. Binder, I've had a conversation when we do set forth our calendar for the year and parents are concerned about, or teachers or staff members are concerned that, we might start winter break the Friday before the holiday begins, or why some of our holidays seem kind of inflexible. What I've been advised is it's due to our testing schedule, and it's so rigorous, and there's so many rules around it. It doesn't give us that much flexibility as far as setting like our school calendar in regards to holidays. So as I mentioned with Dr. Binder, and when we did go over our school holiday or our days off, our calendar, I have a lot of parents in my community who would like to see us us, possibly move spring break forward to where, it's warmer in the rest of the country, or it's more convenient, or, start winter break a bit earlier. And what I've been told repeatedly is that because of this testing schedule, we don't have that flexibility. So I just wanted to have a conversation about it and talk about that. And I appreciate all of the information Dr. Binder shared and the conversation around that.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Combs?
First of all, I want to thank you so much, Dr. Binder. You know, I've really been involved and really active. I am a huge proponent of decreasing testing, and I really appreciate it because I look at the numbers that we initially had, and I do feel that our students aren't being tested as much. If we look at the last year or even 2 years, there's a significant decrease, especially with the elementary level, and I want to thank you for that because I think that is really important. The other thing I want to talk about is really when we look at high schools and we're looking at EOCs, I hope that we will try to really focus and put a lot of technology into the high schools, because I spoke to Mr. Connor today about possibly doing paper and pencil with the EOCs, because it does bottleneck our high schools quite a bit when we have to pull kids out. So I understand that's not a possibility, but I would like to see, as we pull technology in, I think it needs to be first put into the high schools, so that way, because those students are taking a lot of EOCs, and that should hopefully be a priority. And lastly is really making sure that our libraries are not the test centers. I mean, that is very, very important. If we look at the number of days, one of my good friends works at a high school, and she told me last year that the libraries were closed about 78 days. If we want to push literacy and we want to push the love of learning and reading, the libraries need to be at the center of our schools and our high schools. So I really want to emphasize, bringing technology, that should be the first and foremost. That way it can alleviate that and not bottleneck and having kids constantly pulled in and out for testing for all these EOCs and everything like that. But I do appreciate all the time and work and really reflecting on our vision as a school board. Thank you.
Point well said, Member Combs, because when I started teaching and Miss Dr. Hahn, her early days and your early days, I think I only had a midterm and a final and in those tests. And now I'm counting up with the diagnostic included 87. And there was not, and Member Combs, this is to your point, there was not long ago we were up to over 110. So between the BEST coming up and the FSA and all the others, there seems to be an adding. And now I know that Nicole is trying, with Superintendent Davis, trying to subtract. So good for you that you're pushing that up. And Superintendent Davis, you want to make a final remark?
No, through the chair, Ms. Combs is absolutely correct. We've got to be able to, the big thing why the media centers have been used, and I'm just going to say it at secondary level, because they have standalone desktops. We've got to get out of that world and get to mobile, and this is where we've ordered as much as we can. This is the plan that Mr. Bunkley has devised to get us into it. We had we were talking about where do we start, elementary or middle school or high school. It has to be high school because of all of the high stake assessments, and alleviate to allow these media centers to act in which they are, to allow children to continue to love literacy and being actively involved in that process for being closed. So that's the deal. As soon as we've ordered a lot, as soon as they get here, they'll be re-imaged, ready to go, packaged, and be sent to the high schools to be able to start for our teachers in our core areas to be able to assess as needed. So thank you.
Okay, so just remember, we got a complete count, and Member Combs is going to keep track. So good for you. Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion and a second to approve 102. I have a motion by Member Combs, a second by Member Washington. Let's go ahead and we had discussion, so please vote when your lights are on. Okay, and with Member Snively out, we are all voting yes to approve it. Thank you, board members. 601, agreement for technical services with the Ciancio Group. And Superintendent Davis, will you highlight this item? And Member Vaughn pulled this item. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Do we want to go to 501 first, or you want me to go to 601? I can do whatever you want me to do.
Oh, I skipped one.
NCO.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, board members. Let's go ahead back, and let's go to 501. Let me read it out. This is the host. Approved salary increases for Hillsborough out-of-school time host.
Yes, ma'am. I just think you're just trying to see if I'm paying attention.
And you passed the test?
Thank you. And also, I look at McManus; he's ready to go home. So, but this is just approval for increase of Hillsborough out of school time for employees. Host does a really good job. They usually historically average over 860 positions a year. That's inclusive of all their staff. However, as the pandemic has come on board, it's really put an impact on the number of individuals that we can recruit for these positions. So, last year being an average of 365 employees that transitioned to lower than 375 employees. So just trying to find a way to be able to expedite and be able to recruit and attract individuals to stay over. And the majority of the teachers that stay over are the ones that are in our classrooms every single day, so in our support staff as well. So just having that attractor, and we know that as we push through 2025, we got to move to $15 an hour with minimum wage. So this is just allowing us to get there in a expedited manner. And one thing that Host does, it generates $18 million within the school district and brings additional $2.5 million. So this ask is will expend $1 million of that 2.5, and they do a really good job under Mr. McManus' leadership, and I hope we approve it to be able to recruit individuals to care for our children before and after school.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. And Member Vaughn, do you have questions regarding this item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I got my questions answered earlier, but I'm glad we pulled this to highlight to our community how we are increasing the pay for Host and how valued those employees are. They provide much needed child care for our students after school, especially for families, that may have to work. And I think it's important to show that we do value our employees and we do want to pay them a livable wage, and that we're doing everything we can to keep our employees, show them that they're valued, and make sure that we're paying them competitive wages. So I just wanted to say, I'm glad to see this item on here. Thank you for answering my questions, and I'm glad we got an opportunity to highlight it.
Oh, thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Perez?
Yes, those teachers that stay after with the students, they tutor the students, they do crafts with the students. It's amazing what they do with our students after school. So, this is incredible. Yeah, they're worth much more than the $15 an hour. I'm going to say that.
Thank you, Member Perez. Well said. And I know that Mr. McManus is doing a terrific job. We appreciate it. Always called the continuing education part of our district. And we are, 800 spots short, and Rapella doesn't even have Host availability because we don't have employees?
Yes, ma'am, through the chair, that is correct. I mean, our school is, and we just have to cap off because of the number of employees that we have. But hopefully this will be the recruiter that gets us over the hump to be able to have that, open those doors back up and embrace more children.
This is fantastic. So, board members, hold on. I reversed, so I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Member Hahn and a second by Member Perez. And board members, please vote when your lights are on. And Member Vaughn? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you, board members. Now we're going to go to 601, agreement for technical services with the Ciancio Group. Superintendent Davis?
Yes, Mr. Chair. This is an agreement with Technical Services for Ciancio Group. They do in 2021, we built a newly developed discipline equity dashboard, and that's really to be able to address inequities for the number of black students or all students who are disproportionately, who are being removed from the disciplinary actions of our schools with students with disabilities. So what this does is provide principals and district with a dashboard to be able to segregate data, to be able to align it with IDA expectations to reduce the number of students that are being removed from the educational setting. And through this dashboard, we're able to see last year we reduced the ratio, the risk ratio from 4.18 to 3.46, and it should be at a 1.0. So, just allows us to be able to leverage IDA funding, which is what IDA funding is allowed to do, and it's a $48,000 expenditure.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Member Perez, second by Member Combs, and Member Vaughn pulled this item. Member Vaughn, do you have a question on this item?
Yes. Can you highlight whether or not this affects or how it affects and impacts the school to prison pipeline?
Go ahead. I'm happy to start it.
Go ahead, through the chair. So certainly, we know that our students with disabilities, our Black students with disabilities specifically, contribute to the national and statewide issue when we think about the school to prison pipeline. So being able to have a laser-like focus on this particular subgroup, and then also to use that for strategies, to implement strategies school-wide, district-wide, that are going to impact in a positive way all students. So the dashboard, although it is required under the IDEA for disproportionate discipline for students with disabilities by race and ethnicity, it does allow us to leverage that so that we can improve supports for all students. And when you think about the data, the historic data for the school to prison pipeline, not only was it disproportionately Black and Hispanic students, but students who had been identified as with disabilities. So we're excited about having the data to put in the hands of our principals, our school leaders, our district team, and really continue to make progress in that area. So thank you.
And this is all about looking at root causes, not only looking at analytics, but the root cause of the what's actually taking place with our students, the interactions with all of our students with disabilities, and being able to provide proactive strategies and intervention to allow them to be successful.
Okay, thank you. Board members, we have the motion. Please vote when your lights are on. Okay, it is unanimous. Thank you, board members. Going to 602, turnaround school supplemental services applications for Hillsborough County Public Schools. And Superintendent Davis, will you highlight this item?
Yes, Mr. Chair. This is an opportunity for the Department of Education to provide additional funding for schools that have been identified as turnaround schools. These are schools, there's 15 schools that are eligible for the TESIC funding grant. This is around $3.7 million that each of the schools have to work through our federal grant and programs, through Title I, through Woodland Johnson's team, to be able to look at how they're going to engage our community, how they're going to measure high academic standards, how they're going to progress monitor, how they're going to really build capacity of their personnel, what are they going to do to have systemic change within their schools, and then also being able to recruit and retain some of our best and brightest teachers in our organization. And through this process, they get additional dollars based on FTE, and they have to be able to create a plan, submit a plan, work with our district, work with our regional superintendents and our chiefs, and that turns around to be able to follow, and that has to be approved by the board and then sent to the Department of Education.
And board members, I need a motion and a second to approve this item. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Hahn. And we have a question on this item. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item?
Thank you. Is there any part of this funds, is any of it mandated that we have to monitor it or use any outside consulting company to implement or monitor or anything associated with this grant, or does all the money strictly go to the schools directly if we approve their plan?
So each school, thank you very much. Each school creates their plan based on a needs assessment. Those dollars are, that plan is submitted, what you'll see is, submitted to the state for approval. There are specific parameters that exist that our principals are that dictate what our principals are allowed to do, so they operate within those parameters.
So there's no other outside consulting company that is a part of this grant at all?
Not unless the principal requests that, and it's based on the need. And so, no, they are not required to contract with any outside agency, organization, or company.
And I guess I'm sorry to interrupt as well. So I guess some of our grants require an outside evaluator to come in and evaluate whether or not we're using the money into the scope of the sequence of the work. In this process, this doesn't occur. This money goes directly to schools to be able to leverage and use to hire coaches, interventionists, liaisons, which is great.
Okay, thank you.
And really great news for a school like Kimball, who just now has gotten a C. So she has, Daphne, has no more Well, at any rate, she gets the money straight to her school for 2 more years, and that's a real big benefit for high-need schools. So, no more external operator. Very, very positive. And thank you, Ms. Brown, for explaining that so well to each board member. And it's basically only a win-win situation for those schools who do giddy up to a C or better. Board members, would you go ahead and vote when your lights are on? It's unanimous. Thank you, board members. Agenda item 603, amendment for professional services agreement with Catapult Learning, LLC, to provide third-party services for the Title I, Part A, private school reading and mathematics instructional program. Superintendent Davis, will you highlight this item?
Yes, ma'am. This is a pass-through for Hillsborough County. We know that private schools are held accountable as well for students that are eligible through Title I services who need to be remediated for reading in both mathematics. So since 2003, Hillsborough County has used and leveraged Catapult Learning to be able to be that supplemental material to resource. Private schools are at the table to agree upon the vendor and the solution in which they use. In this particular case, once again, they have elected to use Catapult Learning to provide those services, and to continue to make sure that they're accountable and we're accountable to be able to be a partner in this work for children.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Member Perez and a second by Member Washington. Member Vaughn pulled this item. Member Vaughn, do you have questions?
You know, I actually went back and looked at my list, and I didn't pull this item on my sent list, but I'm glad that I got a briefing on it because, from my understanding, this actually isn't a pass-through. It's money that's given to us, and anyone who's in a district where a school qualifies for Title I funding can access those services at a private school, and we provide those services through Catapult. So I didn't pull this item, but I'm so glad that I got briefed on it from Tracy Brown today. She did a fantastic job, and it was a very complicated funding strategy. So I'm glad I got answers on it, but I did not pull this item.
And I apologize. Ms. Brown, one person, Superintendent Davis, saying it's a pass-through. You're not saying it's a pass-through.
So I would say I'll let Ms. Brown speak to it, but indirectly it's passed through to private schools. So, you know, they're eligible, they can apply for it, but we pass it through to be able to serve children within our school district.
Thank you, sir. The funds, we are required by law to provide services to our private schools through the use of Title I funds. We contract with Catapult as that third-party provider to provide those services to our students. So the services are paid for by the funds that we set aside, which basically, as the superintendent said, we just are being able to provide those services to the students through the use of these dollars. The students are identified in these schools, and we have 61 private schools that will participate this year. 61 will serve about 2,000 kids, and we have certified teachers that are working with them. These students are identified based on where they live and which schools they would be assigned to had they attended one of our public schools. If that public school is a Title I school, then they receive the services at the private school in which they attend.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. I'm familiar with Catapult, but I just was seeing a direction that was not consistent with the quote saying pass-through. So that's what a clarification. We need to be consistent with our board members, as you know. Member Combs, you had a remark?
Yeah. I had a quick question. I know you said since 2003 they've been funding. Does that go up as an RFP every year? And do other vendors, because I see that it's $75 an hour, are other organizations allowed to bid on that?
Yes, ma'am. We do an RFP process where we allow providers to bid to provide these services. We are currently in the third year of a 3-year contract with them, so we will be sending it out for bid for the following school year.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Combs. Board members, please vote when your lights are on. And it's unanimous. Thank you, board members. Our next agenda item is just an information item, and following that, we're going to go into, Mr. Porter will present the suspended agenda for a possible vote. So 1201, information on organizational charts. Superintendent Davis, did you want to share?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I did just do my superintendent's report and update, and
sorry.
no, it's okay. It's I wanted to make sure that I reviewed the information for the board and for the community, for those who are watching, and just overall, as the transition to phase 2, we saved $259,000 in the process.
Thank you. I think I was eating a little bit of the sandwiches when you said
It's
that.
okay.
So, sorry, board members. Mr. Porter, would you like to go ahead and execute the suspended agenda for a vote?
Sure. So, board members, there have been some discussion about putting the suspended agenda back on your agenda. The suspended agenda was a long-term tradition in Hillsborough County. What it really was an opportunity for the board and the superintendent to have discussions or updates on items that the board felt was important. The way items made it onto the consent or suspended agenda was by motion at a board meeting. It dropped off during COVID, and there's been discussion about bringing it back, but we wanted to take the opportunity to clarify what you really were looking for, make sure it was done efficiently. There is yet sometimes the chance that that can take over the actual agenda by preventing or providing too many updates. So I think it's just important for the board members to be thoughtful about that, and also have a realistic understanding of how often you'd be updated on things that you're interested in, whether it's every meeting or every several meetings. So the 3 items that were discussed about putting on the suspended agenda I think it was at a workshop, were to adding turnaround school status to the suspended agenda, the updates on low-performing schools, and then literacy updates. And so those were the 3 that if you're interested in creating the suspended agenda, you could make a motion tonight to put those 3 on, and then it could grow from there. But I think, again, be very thoughtful about putting things on and then having realistic expectations about how often you'd be updated and how much time that could take. You can see how an agenda and a meeting can quickly get out of hand when there are topics of interest and you don't get to the business of the board. So it's a balancing act between keeping you and the public updated, but not letting items that are not really up for a vote, but just for an update, take over the meeting. So if someone wanted to make a motion to put those 3 on the suspended agenda, we could start seeing that, and I think staff can then manage your expectations about how often they'll be updated and what that looks like.
Board members, I believe we have a motion by Member Perez and a second by Member Snively. Any discussion? Member Perez?
Yeah, I did request to see if we could put an update biweekly of the Tampa General USF COVID meetings that, yes, on that suspended agenda.
You want to add it to?
Yes, I requested that, I believe, 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. Member Perez, I will add that to the list. Okay. So with that being said, Mr. Porter, would you go ahead and restate the motion so we can go ahead and vote?
So the motion is to establish the consent agenda with the following 4 items on it as the first iteration of it. Adding turnaround school status update, number 1. Number 2, adding updates on low-performing schools. And number 3, adding literacy updates. And then number 4 would be the request that Ms. Perez just made.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Porter. Board members, please vote when your lights are on.
There's no discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. More discussion.
More discussion.
Yeah, I already made the motion and discussion. Member Washington? Yeah, I already made the motion. Second. Yeah, you seconded. Did you want discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to say for the turnaround schools, I understand what you're saying. I wanted to have a report just once a month during the board meeting about how well we're doing on the turnaround schools.
I have Shay do that.
And we'll get some data on that. Can we do that, Mr.
Yes,
Davis?
sir.
Okay.
And that's an excellent request because we're all very much tuned in. Thank you, Member Washington. Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have a draft over here that has about 12 items on it. And so at this point, can we just all just make maybe a friendly amendment to add the additional items to it instead, or do you want us to do each item individually?
That was intentional. I think, I'm not sure why you received that draft. I mean, I think the initial suspended agenda was intended to provide the 3 and then the 4, because again, if you do that now, you're going to that's going to be your agenda. So I think as we go forward, there needs to be some thought about maybe vetting some of those and then bringing them up again. And you can certainly add it. It's your suspended agenda, but that was the thought process about just doing it as 4. I'm not sure why that draft is in front of you. That's up to the board, but again, if you do that, just be mindful that you're going to have a very large suspended agenda, and what that could really mean to your board agenda.
And can you repeat the 4 one more time, please, that are on there?
The 4 that were initially going on were updates regarding turnaround school status. Number 2, updates on low-performing schools. Number 3, the literacy updates. And then, I'm sorry, Ms. President, the one you mentioned as well.
The COVID updates from TGH USF partnerships. Okay. Well, I'd like to maybe open a discussion about some of the other items, because we had financial oversight, which we know is going to be a committee report, basically on probably a monthly basis, and then the general fund status, which might go along with that report. But then a growth management plan I also feel is important as far as managing the growth and the capacity of schools in our county. So, but I don't know if that amend it to include growth management and financial oversight committee reports. And I think that covers most everything that everyone wants to make sure that we're getting regular updates on, and keeps the number manageable.
So, Member Snively, just so I'm clear, would you like for me to add growth
management?
Okay.
And financial oversight committee / general fund.
Okay.
Well, one slight nuance on the financial oversight committee, you had a separate reporting process
mechanism.
So maybe just the general fund would be.
Okay, general fund overview, or status, I should say. Okay, so general fund status. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Member Snively. Member Hahn?
Just some clarification. You said number 2 was turnaround schools and number 3 was low-performing schools? Aren't those the same?
That's
And
what I have listed.
If I'm wrong, correct me, but isn't that
almost redundant?
The same? Can't we just say?
I don't know where that came from. I
don't know. I mean, I'd love.
Provide it to me as what the board wanted.
And then we have turnaround schools. So they're all not, I mean, almost synonymous. So I think probably we can consolidate that so we don't turn it into 3. And that will make people a lot more, that will make more sense to the public. And again, I did rally what Member Washington said about the turnaround schools, but we're having other titles to these schools now. So at any rate.
Well, maybe just calling it, maybe just Transformation Network update.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
And that would capture the information that we're all looking for around improvement and activities going on. You know, it's also a great opportunity to share some of the wonderful things you're doing in those schools, as well as some of the data. So it just sounded like the same. So I just thought we could collapse it, capture it. Thank you.
Member Hahn, thank you. Marita, you're getting these notes down because right now I'm getting a little confused. Not confused, but just too many ideas. Okay, Member Vaughn?
Thank you. I did not see this on our agenda. Under informational item, I see 1201 information on organizational chart. So I'm sorry, I was not prepared to discuss this, and I haven't really given any thought to anything that I'd like added on it. I know we've talked about it at a few meetings, but I wasn't prepared for this one. So I guess I'm unclear. I know we've kind of gone back and forth, but is this a living document where, you know, some fall off, others can be added and we review it, or are what we're deciding on right now completely final?
No, it's a completely living document, and it's your document, and things can be added and removed at any time.
Okay, so at another board meeting, if we are seeing redundancy or we don't need an update, a board member can make a motion to remove something from it and add something, or even just add an addition.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. And just for clarification on our agenda review, it's on Section D, consent agenda items removed for separate vote. So that might be a little confusing in itself unless you have it right in front of you. At any rate, at this point in time, board members will repeat the motion. Mr. Porter, I'm sorry, but we got off
Yes.
a little bit of on a tangent.
So this is to create and reinstate the suspended agenda on your agenda with the following items that will be the initial items on this suspended agenda. An update on the Transformation School Network, updates on the literacy updates, sorry, the fund balance, the growth management plan, and Ms. Perez's addition. So those are the initial ones. And to Ms. Vaughn's point, this is a living document. It's your document. At any time you can add or take them out. The superintendent should also be feel free to recommend to you that something needs to be taken off or something needs to be added. But it's your decision, though. But he should have the freedom to do that so that we can keep this running efficiently. But that's the motion.
And also board members can discuss if they want it
Absolutely.
removed. This is familiar to some of the board members on the dais right now, but certainly to the more new board members, this is all new territory. Board members, let's vote when your lights are on regarding the suspended agenda. So I don't have to remind Mr. Porter to say it again. Thank you, board members. And we have to back up just a tad. Oops,
Yeah, we
sorry.
do have to back up a tad. That one item that was you had pulled
708?
708. It was on the discussion agenda. You had already approved the consent agenda when you decided to put it back on, so it does need to be voted on.
Okay.
And so if the superintendent could briefly highlight that, and then you could vote on that one.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So through the chair, 708 is the transfer of, we're asking 3,300 square foot or the subject is to be able to look at our square footage of unused developmental rights, which is a TDR for Tampa Heights Elementary School. The city of Tampa has a transfer of the developmental rights program, which is TDR, and which allows organizations to leverage unused developmental rights from properties to other designated areas. So this is just a way for us to explore new revenue streams within our school district. And what this does is I'm asking for a pilot program to be implemented in Hillsborough County. This is to be able to issue an RFP to be able to sell developmental rights. Currently, if we look at Tampa Heights Elementary School, they have 821,000 square foot of unused developmental rights at their property, and being able to look at particularly 5,000 of those square feet to be able to put out on an RFP. The reason this took a little bit, we're working with legal, we're working with a lawyer that actually wrote the TDR ordinance in Tampa Bay area, and being able to use and follow the proper protocols. But this is just a way for us to pilot and be able to look at additional revenue streams within our school district.
Superintendent Davis, isn't this the first cloud-based exchange we've done in our district?
Well, openly, we looked at it. It's actually the square footage on the property originally. So we can reel them back. So we have 821,000 square feet of unused historical property at the Tampa Bay. So if we were to at Tampa Heights Elementary School, if we were to sell that property, and I'm asking today to look at 5,000 square feet of unused historical property, we would be able to sell that property with minus the 5,000 square foot if the RFP identified that. So being able to transfer these unused developmental square footage to another property just allows us to leverage another revenue stream within our school district. Mr. Porter, I don't mean to put you on the spot. I know that you are a master at land. At land, is there anything here that you?
No, I think you summed it up very well. But the concept is this: if you have a piece of property and you have certain density on the property, for instance, your development rights might allow you to have 100 units, and you don't need the 100 units. You can sell those off, and then someone else can use it that needs that. It's used traditionally in places in historic districts. Sometimes historic property has more development rights than would really be appropriate for that. So they can transfer those rights to another part of town, and then that part of town can benefit from the development rights. And it's a financial exchange, and it's a land use tool that is used effectively throughout Florida. And it's the first time the district is doing it, and it's very innovative for the superintendent to be doing this.
I know, this is, it's very exciting. Yeah, it's into technology. Member Vaughn, is that a motion? Is that a, did you want to make a comment, Member Vaughn?
I did. Thank you. I did have some questions about this because it was brought late to us and I didn't have a chance to ask questions during my agenda review on this. So we are basically transferring some of our unused space at Tampa Heights to a developer in Hyde Park. And from my understanding, it's to build some kind of business complex. And I guess I just have concerns. I appreciate it might be innovative, but I think that, as we've kind of gone through a workshop where we realize growth management, we're going to have to find extra, spots, and we're going to have to develop, and maybe we don't need the space here. I think, quickly kind of selling those unused spaces for something as, inexpensive for $10,000 for somebody to be able to develop in Hyde Park might not be, necessarily the best use of this space as far as either using it for equity to raise more funds or, in regards to developing for our own schools going forward. So, how do you address that thought on this item?
Through the chair, for us, this is, we'll have over 818,000 square foot unused development square foot available on this campus. And while we were engaged with that developer, this goes out to RFP to be able to, for individuals to engage us and determine, what is going to be the best model for us to move forward. I think this is, only one campus that we have and we're speaking about. They'll still have over 818,000 square foot that is unused. So being able to try this as a pilot program, I think this is like Mr. Porter said, is an innovative solution for us to go out and determine, we put $5,000 to $10,000, our aspirations to get as much as we can, but we used that because we looked at the last 3 project that was done through the St. Pete area, and that was, they were using, I think, $1.59 or $1.60 per square foot to be able to come up with that price tag. But, hopefully we'll be able to push for a little bit more and be able to use this as additional innovative strategies for down the road.
So if we did want to push for more and we wanted to see if the developer would pay $25,000, $30,000 for this, is that an option? Would we have to vote this item down and come up with another one and renegotiate? Or if we thought this land or whatever this is, this cloud land is worth more than $5,000 to $10,000, what's our ability to, see if we can get more for this?
We absolutely can. We can push for as much as we can, as much as the developer is willing to pay, and know that we just put this as a safeguard to trends, what we see in St. Pete. But we'll push this as aggressively as we can within this RFP. And we'll see, if this RFP goes out, it's the first pilot. We'll see if we, where we are related to the number we can get, the price we can get per square footage, and see if it's beneficial not only for us, but for also the surrounding developers and community at scale.
Okay, thank you.
Great questions. And Member Washington, I know you had a quick question about the location.
Yeah, quick question.
So go ahead.
Mr. Davis, where is that located? What side? South, north side, or the west side?
In the school, it could be. I want to make sure I'm right, Mr. Farks, when I say this. It could be. It's just a parcel. We can identify that parcel in which that 5,000 square foot or 3,300 square foot, whatever it may be, up to 5,000 square foot on that parcel. We can identify and deem that, and that'd be part of the negotiation process.
Okay, so we haven't identified the spot exactly.
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and really appreciate you finding all kinds of ways of getting money for us. Member Perez, did you have a question?
Yes, exactly. For the public, can you tell them exactly where Tampa Heights Elementary School is located?
Mr. Farks, you want to talk about the geographical location of Tampa Heights?
You mean on Columbus and Tampa Heights is where it's Columbus Avenue.
Columbus Avenue. Okay. So this is an area that we've had some gentrification take place. So I'm going to ask a question regarding this. Why start a pilot program with this area and not with other schools?
Through the chair, we just have so many square foot available at Tampa Heights Elementary School. We have over, like I said, over 820,000 square feet available of unused historical square footage. So being able to take a large scale that we will not use because we've already done as much as we can related to the remodeling of Tampa Heights, and we think this is the best starter initiative with just so much land and opportunity that our square footage to be able to use and leverage.
And if I could add to that too, this is a somewhat confusing concept, and so I just want to be clear because it is something new to the district. Nothing's going to be built on the property.
That's correct.
So this actually helps gentrification and help prevent gentrification because if you remove those development rights, then someone couldn't come in. We couldn't sell it off to build because those rights would no longer be there. So it would preserve the integrity of the school and allow that development to occur in a place that's more appropriate than an historic school site in a neighborhood where gentrification has been a problem. It's a different concept. It's sort of not something the district has ever done, and not a lot of people understand what it is. I think the discussion is very good to highlight it. So to your point, Ms. Perez, it actually helps the very issue you're concerned about because it wouldn't allow, for instance, us to sell the property and then a big apartment complex to go in. So it really helps that problem that you've identified.
Okay. Because, in these areas, a lot of our neighborhoods are being bought up by, major corporations, and the land around this area is being brought up. So, in all rights, trying to conserve this area for not just the students but their families, and honoring. This not just the school, but the surroundings of the schools. But thank you for that clarification in the sunshine. I appreciate it.
Perez, excellent point that you made. And board members, before we continue, I do need a motion and a second to approve this item. I have a motion by Member Vaughn, a second by Member Perez. Is there any further discussion? If not, let's go for a vote. Please vote when your lights are on. Member Vaughn? Member Vaughn, did you have a comment? Member Vaughn, you're on mute.
Thank you. That's so 2021, isn't it? Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I did have an additional question after Mr. Porter responded to Member Perez. So I guess my question is, if we didn't sell this piece to a developer in Hyde Park to develop there, I mean, we are saying that at some point, if we ever sold this school property, it does give a larger parcel for larger development. But regardless, we could keep it and use it as the school grows or develops, or could we sell pieces of this off in smaller groups in this area for small businesses? Because I think just to say it stops gentrification is confusing for me.
Can I take a jab at this? So think of it this way, Ms. Vaughn. No one's going to build on the property. Think of it as when you go away and you have a timeshare and you need a certain number of points, or for a hotel. So this person who's doing developing, they need a certain number of points to build in their historic area. We're not selling property. We're not going to have them build on our property. We're just selling our points to the developer so that they can go and then build their project in the historic area. So, and those are probably points that, we're not going to use. So it's kind of a win-win. So that's kind of the easiest way I can explain it.
Good analogy. So, Member Vaughn, are you satisfied, or would you like to continue?
I mean, I have more questions, but I know how I'm going to vote, so we can go ahead with the vote, and I'll ask questions after the meeting. I get the concept, but there are further questions, but it is fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Board members, please vote when your lights are on. It's unanimous. Whoops. Oh, it's no. Sorry. Member Vaughn is a no. The other board members are a yes. Okay, at this time, board members, this is your time for your board comments. And if you will get into the queue, we'll begin at this time. Okay, Member Hahn will speak first. And what's going on, Member Hahn? Whoops. What's going on?
Got me all discombobulated with that last vote, Ms. Gray. Okay. So one, I want to thank the Early Learning Coalition. They donated 600 copies of a book called Kindergarten Planet. I filmed an episode of reading the book on Storytime Online. We pushed it out to all the kindergarten classrooms and the families. And so thank you to the Early Learning Coalition of Hillsborough County for donating the copies of Kindergarten Planet to our kindergarten teachers so that they could read it in their classrooms the first day of school. I was really excited when I went on my visits to a few elementary schools to see the book in the kindergarten classrooms. So that was a lot of fun. Spent Saturday at a wonderful event, the Bullard Family Foundation Back to School Bash, and bash it was just phenomenal. So I wanted to thank Thaddeus and his foundation for all the hard work. Sorry, am I yelling? Putting on the event. It was fantastic. So thank you so much. It benefited so many children in our community. I also want to share some data from Mayan from their summer recap. And we had 187,000 books accessed. In August, we had 67,000 books read and 25,000 and change hours reading books. And during the summer, there were 105 visits that took place by Mayan throughout the community. That included host sites and boys and girls clubs and Plant City Parks and Rec and YMCA camps. So that was really exciting. And so I just wanted to thank Mayan for the work they did around literacy in our community this summer. It was really, really impactful and kept kids very engaged in reading. And lastly, I wanted to just highlight the work that Frameworks has done over the last few weeks. Frameworks, as you know, provide some training around social emotional learning, and right now life is extremely challenging. Mm-hmm. We heard from parents, students, more than ever, children need skills to navigate the moments that we're living in. And Frameworks is a critical partner with the district around mental health. And they had some, and they're in many of our elementary and middle schools. They're in Broward Elementary, Carrollwood, Citrus Park, Just, Potter, Town and Country, West Tampa, Stewart Middle, Webb, just to name a few. And they're doing some amazing work. They did some trainings with schools in the last couple weeks around SEL. They were group activities. There were community building sessions. And so I think we're going to see a big impact from all of that this coming school years. I don't know. I know that the news did a quick story. If we could just show it real quickly, I wanted to just highlight it because it does show Frameworks in our classrooms. If we have it. There we go.
There we go.
Well, we need some volume. Well, there they are.
Lessons, kids are learning how to cope with their emotions.
I think with the pandemic and everyone about healing and understanding. As Kelly Ring shows us, the nonprofit is helping schools help students with social and emotional learning.
Okay, so you're going to take your pencil.
Before they start their lessons, kids are learning how to cope with their emotions.
I think with the pandemic and everyone having so many feelings going around, they're understanding, okay, we have to give our kiddos some time to breathe and then start.
So good morning.
Good morning, Miss Warren.
It's called social and emotional learning.
We have what's called community building sessions to where our students get a chance to have dialogue, talk about compliments, gratitude, and mindfulness, which are all skills that empower them to be successful.
It's something that good teachers naturally do, but this year we're really going to be a little bit more intentional about it. We're going to implement community-based meetings in the mornings where students will have time to share their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions.
This is another visual that we provide to all of our partners to put up on the wall.
The nonprofit Frameworks of Tampa Bay is working with schools to help students open up.
We have a wheel of emotions. Yes, there's hundreds and thousands of words that describe those emotions, and so we've put a wheel together that expands on, okay, you're angry, but are you just frustrated, or are you really, really upset about something? So giving a name to an emotion, huge, huge deal for everyone.
A lot of our students live in the same community, and so some of the stressors or some of the trauma that exists in that living environment comes into the classroom with them. But when they're at Broward, they are able to support each other through some of those traumatic experiences.
They say the pandemic presented a challenge that affected learning.
What I was actually witnessing is it was a loss of connection. And if you don't have a connection to your teacher, to your school, to your community, you're not going to learn.
Because it's not just about reading and writing, but also coping.
We went through a very traumatic experience, and not one person wasn't affected by it. So for us to ignore that right now would be detrimental to their learning. And I really think that this piece, the SEL piece, is going to help them and hopefully maintain that.
Kelly Ring, Fox 13 News.
And Frameworks includes parents into the program as well.
So I'm going to leave it there. I think the video said it all very nicely and gave a glimpse into the classrooms of the type of work that's being done for our students. So a big thank you also to Frameworks for partnering around the mental health of the students in our district and training the teachers in our district. Thank you, Member Gray.
Thank you, Member Hahn, for adding so much positivity to our district, as you do every time. So we appreciate that. Member Perez?
Thank you. I want to first say thank you to Holly Saya and her team, our social services department, on our return to school refresh. We went to East Bay High, West Tampa Elementary, Tampa Bay Tech, and Hillsborough High, where we were able to pass out a lot of information along with our community partners that were there with us, collaborating to provide information to our parents and students. And also, to Thaddeus Bullard. I mean, he really, really went above and beyond for our students. He offered vaccines. He didn't offer the vaccines. There was clinics there. I don't know. But, he had a clinic there with, providing health exams, physicals, dental exams, and even haircuts for students. I mean, he just always goes just above and beyond for our students. And he had like 30,000 backpacks full of stuff for our students for back to school. And so, I want to give a shout out to him as well. That the place was packed, with our students and their families. And he also fed them. He's just incredible. So with that said, I want to ask Superintendent, if you could give me some information on our teachers regarding COVID pay, if you don't mind.
Through the chair, as you know, that FFCRA ended in December 2020, and one of the things that we did as a school district and thing for the board, we moved it we extended it from January all the way to the end of the school year last year to end of May, and it was 10 days. We got 10 days up to December. We added another 10 days. It cost us a lot of money to do it, but we believe it was the right thing. As we transition this school year and work through, our financials, look at ESSER, being able to determine what the new Department of Health and CDC guidelines would be, and with the quarantine being able to drill down in a smaller number of days being out, we elected to extend 5 days to our employees. So, we would love to go to 10 days. It's just a major cost, but as of right now, being able to do 5 days for those who are quarantined.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
And also, I noticed tonight that, we had, last board meeting, this place was packed. So I really appreciate you doing every other seat again, especially with the numbers that we're having here in the Tampa Bay area, and also the lectern. If we could go back to getting that cleaned after every speaker, that would be great, just because of the Delta variant and its transmittability. If we could get back to doing that, that would be great. But I appreciate the every other seat again for right now, here in the boardroom. I was happy to see that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Perez. And then we have Member Vaughn, followed by Member Washington.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know that you like to end things on a positive note, but since we were asked to hold some of our comments and questions to the end, I'm going to make those first, and then I have a video to share of a teacher appreciation event. One, I just wanted to ask, I'm going to put in the paperwork, but I wanted to officially ask for a workshop on community schools. I ran on a platform of community schools. I think that we should really talk about those. I know several of our public comments tonight were about that, and there's a lot of different models of community schools, so I want to make sure if we're going to advocate and talk about those, we have an understanding of what that looks like. The other thing, I just want to thank so much our staff members, our teachers, our admins. I know Superintendent Davis touched on this, but it's another challenging year. And I mean, we've just gone to schools and they've been amazing, and classes are amazing. And I really want to say thank you so much to all of our staff members. Also, I just want to take a moment that I'm concerned when we have conversations and we see a lot of language about discrimination or racism comparisons when we're talking about students who have made the choice, or who their parents have made the choice to opt out of wearing a mask. I think that it gets dangerous when we start to talk about parents who have made a choice and accommodating everybody's choice and cohorts and what that looks like, to start using words like racism or discrimination when we're talking about parental choice. I don't say that there can't be some kind of bullying, and we want to stop that on all sides and make sure that regardless, all students are treated with respect and that no student is feeling undervalued. But I think we need to be very careful in the terms that we use specifically, because this is not comparable with that. And then, finally, I just want to say that, I know that we're faced with a lot of challenges, and when we talk about ways that we can make sure that our schools are safe, we're faced with, not necessarily having the bandwidth to do it or the funds, but, with the money that was passed on to us that the state is holding, we shouldn't have an answer be like, we can't afford that, having COVID testing. I mean, that money was given to us, number one, as a priority to make sure we're prioritizing safety. And number two, I understand that we have a lot of challenges and that we're short-staffed and we're doing the best we can, but we're in the second year. So we need to come up with better ways of, keeping our students safe, especially if we're going to honor parental choice when it comes to masks. So that's kind of the points I wanted to make out from earlier in the meeting. But I would also like to then just show this video. I want to thank CABA, which is the Carewood Area Business Association, for hosting a new teacher appreciation breakfast where we invited new teachers or teachers new to a school and gave out prizes. It was originally hosted by Cindy Stewart, and she passed it on to me, and we had a very short amount of time to actually put it together. Thank you for TBAE for putting this video together, and for Chamberlain for hosting it, and for all the members who came and actually participated in it. We were able to spoil all of our new teachers. It was a really great event. And so I'm just going to take a few minutes to show that. And everyone else, stay safe out there. And thank you so much for everybody's hard work in this district.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Leggett. We are here at the New Teacher Breakfast at Gaither High School. We are with the Carrollwood Area Business Association. So we are an organization of local business owners who all come together to support our community.
Thank you to everyone who came to this event, my secretary who helped put this together, and all the people at the district. But most of all, thank you to our teachers, our new teachers, our teachers who are coming and changing schools. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. We appreciate and value you so much. This year is going to be challenging, but I know that you'll rise to the top, that you will always be there to meet the needs of our students. We love our teachers and our APs and our support staff so much, and I'm so excited that we have the opportunity to express our appreciation.
Teachers, if one thing that we've learned from last year is how to collaborate with one another, how to be together, how to work together, how to support one another. I'm so excited for the new year and for everything to be back together.
You know, what a special day. We get a chance to interact, engage, and welcome our brand new teachers to Hillsborough County, to our school district. And we want to thank them for going into a very difficult, complex position, which is teaching. Most of our students haven't been back in a school in 16 months. So being able to gain access to them and help our teachers build those relationships and give them all the support they need in order to be successful.
It feels so good to be appreciated. Last year during COVID was a very tough time for everyone, but us as teachers, we were dealing with a lot of different things. And so to be here at the New Teacher Breakfast is a reminder that we're not alone. We've won so many prizes. We're surrounded by so much support and faculty. So we look forward to an amazing 2021 to 22 year, and we're just going to knock it out the park.
I'm wishing everybody a safe and effective school year. Let's do everything we can to meet the needs of our kids at every one of our sites. We know that everyone's up for the challenge.
I want to thank HABA for continuing a tradition that we started 5 years ago together to bring brand new teachers to a breakfast just to celebrate them and offer them something to take back to their school. And I look forward to making sure that they have this event every single year to honor teachers and the work that they do.
Hope the teachers feel the love and good luck this year. We are here to support you.
So going from one profession to another, just going into a new year of positivity, a new year of love, and a new year of compassion for not only your students, but for each other as a team of teachers. We're going to rock it.
Each of you make a lasting difference to the lives of every one of those students that sit in your seats. Thank you for your commitment and the love and care that you give to all.
Thank you. Oh, and one last shout out to Meredith Flippin, my secretary, who rocked that event. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I tell you, I had an eventful week going on here the last couple of days. So we started out at Milton High School. Pablo, you have that? The video? Oh, okay. Okay, well, I can start there. It doesn't make a difference. Okay, as you can see, I had the opportunity to go by and visit with the Community Against Gun Violence. They gave out book bags and so forth. And I just want to give you some quick data on that. You know, we've had 23 homicides in the city of Tampa and 31 in the county corporate areas. So we've had 54 people to die in the last, say, month or so. We've had 230 shootings. It's something we have to do. We're not doing something. And I'm out there. We're going to come up with something. I spoke with some of the legislature, black elected officials, and we're trying to come up with something because it's happening in the black neighborhoods, and we have to train people to be how to work out problems rather than shooting and killing all the time. So I was very happy to be out there with J.J. Johnson, Fan Tate, and Vivian Owens, and we're going to come up with something. The next event I went to is on the right side, as you can see, Milton High School. I had the Dungy Foundation, the We See You, and Lions Youth Organizations, and we gave out over 200 book bags. And also, we adopted Oak Park, where we gave 20 kids, they selected 20 students to give out uniforms to. So we gave out 20 uniforms, 20 pair of shoes, and we're going to adopt Oak Park. And I tell you, I was blessed to have the Dungy Foundation and the We See You to help out in the community along with the other part. Again, you can see the community against crime, gun violence. Do we have the Temple Terrace? Pablo? Okay, that's the shot of me. I had an opportunity to go to the Temple Terrace new teacher breakfast, and it was sponsored by Gaspers, Suncoast Credit Union, and Chick-fil-A. We had a great time over there. We had a lot of teachers, young teachers, and I gave them some lectures, and also I told them some stories, so they were real happy. So we really did have a great time at Temple Terrace Golf and Country Club. Until I got ready to leave. When I got ready to leave, that's when I slammed my finger in the door, because I was running, talking to people. So, but besides that, it was great. As you can see, I had opportunity to take some pictures with King High School new teachers and the principal there. And then last but not least, we should be at Reagan Park now with the children with a vision. We, Tanya Lewis, have been doing this over 20 years, giving out book bags and so forth to students over there. We had a great time. We had a lot of people. I would think we may have had about 200 or 300 people to attend that event. And Tanya has always been she has done a great job with the Children of Vision. And I just wanted to point it out, because sometimes, you get people to come in and they stay in for a couple of years and they leave and they do something else. But 20 years is a long time to be helping out in the community and giving back to the community, especially the students who are really in need. We had a lot of food. The mayor was there. Council. We just had a great time. And then closing, I'll tell you. In closing, we teachers and I'm so happy the teachers are back and the administrators, and we're going to have a great year. I really feel that we're going to have a great year, and we accomplished so much during the COVID time. Very few times you can say 50% of schools brought their grade up. Very few times. That's a lot. That's a milestone. I don't ever remember that. Chris, you've been around a long time, and Ms. Brown, I don't ever recall that.
And I can tell you this, sir, the Department of Education called and said it was a model for the state. So it's hard work of the teachers and staff and Shay and their team. So I appreciate it.
And Shay, you did a great job. And I got to say this. We had two schools to go. Well, I really had three, but I'm going to talk about the two first. We had two schools that go from an F to a C. That's phenomenal. I mean, you don't see that every day. I mean, you just don't. And we had a chance to go to Oak Park, Broward. I went to Broward. I went to Oak Park and Foster. And Kilmer was another school that brought from an F to a C. So I'm very happy, but we still got a lot of work to do. So thank you all.
Thank you for that hopeful and helpful message, as always. Thank you, Member Washington. Member Combs?
Thank you, Chair Gray. First of all, I really want to thank all the teachers, the faculty, the staff, the bus drivers, the cabinet, everybody for everything you do to get this year started. We know that this continues to be, it's only the third day, and we're looking at a very, very challenging year. And I want to say I appreciate each and every one. And as I went out to Buchanan and Walker, I saw students who had not been to school for a year and a half. And you could see that even though the circumstances are not ideal at all, that they were really happy to be there. And so I wonder right now, as I ask, where are we as far as receiving the ESSER money? I mean, where are we as far as that?
So we just applied for the lump sum, which was ESSER 2. And we have not received anything related to the APR, the third wave of the funding, which is over $400 million. We have so many plans ready to be able to leverage that, and that money, the bulk of that money, will be able, in our opportunity as Hillsborough County, due to our financial situation, to go to tremendously push into children. And we just, we sit and we wait. So without clearance and guidance, it's just a waiting game for us. We're ready to apply. As soon as the application comes out, it's in within that same day. So Ms. Brown, her team stands ready.
And I want to say something. I was here for the first day, but the week prior I wasn't here. I had to go overseas to see my father who wasn't doing well. I was in North Africa. And as I was there, I looked around and I saw, I've been many countries around the world. What happens is you see these private schools and then you see a public education and you see no opportunity for kids in public education. As I sat there, I looked and I thought, is this the direction that we're going in as a country or as a state? As I sat there, overseas and reading the newspaper, I thought to myself, we are 46 funded in the state. Vouchers are trying to be given out left and right. When you get a voucher for $7,800, you are never going to attend Berkeley High School that is $25,000. You are never going to attend a Catholic school that is $15,000. So it took me a lot to reflect on, if we don't do something, I don't care if you're a Republican, I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're an NPR. If we don't start fighting for public education in this state and stop allowing laws that are just basically going to increase where there is not going to be a middle class in this country or in this state. You are going to find people who are going to be educated, and then you're going to find most people who are going to be uneducated. As I looked around and I was in a third world country for 8 days, I thought, if we don't start speaking out and really pushing Tallahassee and requiring more funding, where are we going to be in 10 years from now? And Mr. Washington, there is just going to be increased violence in our country and in our state if we don't start prioritizing public education. So I really feel, regardless of where your party is, let's stop being divisive and let's start prioritizing public education.
Members, thank you, Member Combs. Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. While you were away, I did mention that at the delegation meeting, that we have to focus on adequate funding. And I even said the statistics that you just mentioned to the delegation. So yes, we do have to continue to advocate to make sure that we're adequately funded for public education, no matter what party you are, no matter what your political belief is. We should be the first and best choice for our students. Choices are great for parents. We need to be the best choice. I just want to say a couple things. Thank you, Dr. Hahn, for mentioning SEL. That was a great segue to just a reminder, and I know the superintendent's aware of this and has probably already communicated to principals about the moment of silence, the new law that allows students to reflect for a minute or two at the beginning of each day. And so I'd be curious how you're implementing that. You can, tell, I don't know if you want to say anything now about it, but I'm curious how that's being implemented in our schools.
Yes, ma'am. The recommendation through the chair is to use it the first part of the day. As soon as students come in to use it, it's a minimum of 1 minute, and it can be maximum of 2 minutes. So being able to use and share that new statutory requirement through Shay and through Sue has been sent out to principals, so that can be a priority, and we think that's very important to have that time of reflection.
I agree. I'm just going to read a little bit of not the whole thing, but we find in today's hectic society, too few persons are able to experience even a moment of quiet reflection before plunging headlong into activities of daily life. Young persons are particularly affected by the absence of an opportunity for a moment of quiet reflection. And then we find that our youth and society as a whole would be well served if students in the public schools were afforded a moment of silence at the beginning of each school day. So I appreciate that, because it gives a chance for students to sit and reflect before they start. We should all be doing that, actually. Even as adults, we should be doing that. Thank you for bringing up faculty pay during COVID. I do think it's a little bit unfair and discriminatory about, as far as the CDC guidelines and the protocol for faculty quarantining. I think it's inherently discriminatory the way the CDC guidelines are discriminating between faculty who are vaccinated and faculty who are not vaccinated, because the faculty who are not vaccinated have to quarantine away from the school, but if you're vaccinated, you get to stay. But we all know that even if you're vaccinated, you could still carry the virus and you can still transmit the virus. So I know that I don't know that you can do anything about that, but I just wanted to make that statement that I think it's inherently discriminatory mandatory because you know who the teachers are that are not vaccinated because they're the ones who are having to quarantine at home. So to me, that's a borderline privacy violation or HIPAA violation. So again, I don't know if that's anything that you can do to advocate for the fairness in that for our faculty. I've gotten quite a few complaints and concerns from our teachers who are being quarantined and being forced to leave the school and they missed open house and they had to miss the first day of school, the first week of school. I want to thank the Greater Riverview Chamber of Commerce and the Valrico Fishhawk Chamber of Commerce for their new teacher and teacher appreciation events. We had hundreds of teachers come out and it was really wonderful to be able to show them love and appreciation for some existing teachers and also new teachers in our school district. Thank you also to Thaddeus Bullard, as we've already mentioned, a great event, back to school bash, giving away so much to our community. I wanted to thank Chair Gray. A few weeks ago at a special called board meeting, I asked for a workshop on our consistently low performing schools, our DNF schools. It has been scheduled August the 24th, and so I wanted to thank you because there's some question out there about are we going to meet to discuss that, and yes we are on August 24th, so mark your calendars. And then just welcome back to school, everyone. I hope everyone had a really great first week of school. We had a fun time out at Sessoms Elementary School. I want to thank the Principal Norgard for hosting so much activity out there at the beginning, at the entryway of her school between the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and the school district. So that was pretty fun, and the crossing guards were great. And the school safety patrol, which now we've made you an honorary safety patrol because you were not allowed to be one when you were a child. So
I had to buy one of those and they gave me one.
So we made you an honorary safety patrol. Right. And then Dr. Klein at Brandon High School, we had a great visit with Dr. Klein and got to visit his high school and see how things are really going. The fiesta at Brandon High School this year, it's going to be great. So thank you. Wish everyone a wonderful first week and thanks for everything our teachers and faculty are doing to make this a great year for our students.
Thank you, Member Snively. Just as a fast fact, Sessoms Elementary School is about 1 minute from my son's previous house. Actually, he's selling it. So, yes, familiar with that area. I want to thank also Thaddeus Bullard, the Bullard Foundation, their generosity. I know he gave a shirt to everyone. But more importantly, as Member Perez and a few of the board members said, the physicals that were given to our children free of cost, not to mention the backpack and all the supplies. Seems like Thaddeus knows all the needs of the communities and our high needs children and hits the right spot. Also want to thank a wonderful organization that's growing for our foster children. Principal Bush is in charge for the most part, as is Rick McKittrick, but Friends of the Children, we had a graduation, and this is community folks volunteering to adopt a foster child in our schools and raising them from the young age to graduation. And it's quite, it's an enormous, generous, let's just say, give from a community member to another child. And just thank you for that organization. So much need for our foster kids. Also, I believe we have a video. We had a video. We have one. Okay. We did so many videos. I'm trying to keep track of which one, but I hope it's the one that Jake Washington and myself with the Fred Hearns.
African American History Task Force decided it was important to do a walking tour of historic Perry Harvey Park. So we spent about 90 minutes learning about the black business people, the entertainers, the great history and education and civil rights and so forth here. Perry Harvey Park is a free park, so there's no admission fee. All you've got to do is get here. As we learned today, there's music celebrating the musical heritage of Central Avenue. There are all kinds of plaques and signs and monuments and a beautiful statue of Perry Harvey where we took a nice group picture. You could spend a couple of hours here and you will know so much more of African American history in Tampa than the average citizen who's lived here.
How does it make students and our families, parents feel when they see the history of where their ancestry is. And I would say I heard everything from pride, from a little bit of sentimental sadness, certainly an appreciation from one of the students. But the bottom line is, unless you know where you're from, it's hard to really get a hold of where you're going to go.
I'm going to tell you, it brought back many memories for me, because this used to be Central Avenue. And as Fred Hearn said earlier during the tour, this is where we live. This is what we did. We had our own stores. We had people like Moses White, who was outstanding, did a great job. We had Lee Davidson. We had a lot of people involved, and we worked together as a community. And that's how we built Central Avenue. It was built from hard work, dedication, and people learning from their mistakes.
Tampa Bay History Center, which has provided educational programs for quite a few years now, is expanding the area where the black history is captured, is celebrated. We're going to, reach all the way back as far as we can. We're looking for artifacts to display there. It's a wonderful field trip opportunity. We encourage all schools and all students to take advantage of it.
With curriculum, so they know, so the students know the behind the scenes and the rich history. So we have a lot to do, but a lot to look forward to. So we want to thank Fred Hearns, our great historian. Should have brought him in, right? Member Washington, and our African American task force. The community leaders were part of it. I want to thank also Mr. Connor for supporting the efforts in the curriculum changes, and of course Daryl Saunders and Superintendent Davis. Again, you have been behind this from the get-go, and we are going to have some real-time modifications that match the demographics of our African-American community. Very appreciative. And last, just as we all are saying to each of our teachers, we just really are excited for you. We appreciate your passion. We appreciate your endurance. And all of us know that you're going through some very tenuous times, but we are here as board members and as staff members to support you every inch of the way, and principals included. So thank you, board members, for a great meeting and great deeds and acts of kindness. So I'm going to go, whoops, let me do this. All right, we're adjourned.
Doors are in our schools. That's why we're teaming up to get this message out.
We need you to be our first line of defense against human traffickers.
By speaking up, you can help protect your classmates.
What does a human trafficking victim look